Welcome to TWitWoW, the best podcast on the internet today. I'm John, that's my court and commentary Ashton, and this is our weekly recap, wrestling, politics, pop culture. And let's just get right into it. I think for wrestling, and Ashton, I want to get your consent on this in real time. I was just thinking we would talk about Chamber and maybe a little
Yes,
bit of NXT.
please. Yes, let's
Um,
talk about Chamber and not bury the lead. We just came off of Randy Orton in the
yes,
men's chamber. Let's talk about that first.
Yes, and what I was going to say more specifically is we could even just forego, in my mind, Raw and SmackDown of this week because it all led to Chamber
Sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
So we could treat it like the old days when we would preview and predict and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So anyway, just wanted to clear that up with you. But getting into it, Randy Orton wins, not without some controversy because Drew, tried to assault Cody,
Well,
which
the
yes,
whole latter, like 5 to 7 or 8 minutes of the chamber match, the men's chamber match, was clusterfuck because you not only was Drew there to try and screw Cody, but Seth Rollins was also there, and he was revealed to be the masked man the whole time. There were a few red herring masked men on purpose, I assume. And Seth uh, screwed Logan Paul, so he curb stomps Logan Paul. Logan gets eliminated, and then Drew comes out and he goes after Cody, but Orton turns him around, gets him with the RKO. Cody hits him with the Crossroads. Immediately, Orton with the RKO to Cody, pins him 1, 2, 3, and we have a winner.
just a tangential point before we obviously talk about the more important stuff. I hated that Cody practically no-sold getting hit in the back of the fucking head with the championship.
Mm.
Like, he got hit with it, and then I
Remember
feel
when
like he
that
was
was John
immediately given
Cena's
Drew a hand.
finishing move last year?
Yeah, really, right? Um, and so yeah, Orton wins, and then let's go one step further because you posted this in Wrestling Discussion, so I appreciate you. Nick Aldis immediately announced that this Friday on SmackDown, this coming Friday, is going to be Drew versus Cody for the WWE Championship.
Yep.
Now, we also know, and this is the only thing I'm going to mention about Raw or SmackDown, even though I just said let's gloss over it because it is narratively important. Jacob Fatu got screwed out of qualifying with the champion. He got a second chance because Jey Uso was taken out. We don't know who took him out. I fear it might be
Mm-hmm.
Sami Zayn because he's kind of crashing out, but we'll table that for now. And he was going for
Imagine
a
they do like
moonsault.
a 6-pack challenge at Mania, and they do like Drew, Orton, Cody, Jacob, Jay, Sammy, and it's elimination, like 6-pack challenge style.
Yeah, dude, that would be sick.
That'd be
That would
crazy.
be sick. But yeah, Jacob was going for a moonsault on Logan Paul. Now this was on this past SmackDown, and Drew hits him in the
Mm-hmm.
skull with the title, and so Jacob to me has far more. Well, I mean, I guess Cody, if we're being fair, does have an axe to grind, but Jacob especially. I mean, how many times is this dude gonna get
Yeah.
screwed by Drew McIntyre? So
My question
I
is, on Friday when that WWE Championship match is happening between Drew and Cody, does Jacob interfere in such a way that causes a DQ or a no contest that ends the match and leads to Jacob being added to the championship match at Mania? Or does Jacob outright screw Drew and Cody wins the title right before Mania, right at the finish line?
That's a very good question because here's the thing. We shouldn't dismiss that option only because then, right, you would have, in my mind, presumably Jacob versus Drew at Mania
Yeah.
because maybe Drew would be outed as Jacob's attacker.
Yeah.
And of course, Cody versus Orton,
Right.
which, they probably both glazed themselves about how much of a house they could draw if they main evented a Mania. So I don't think that can be dismissed. And I
I mean,
say
the
that
crazy
because
thing is, we were just talking in the Discord, might have been earlier today, might have been yesterday, the days kind of blur together for me, about, how Cody, or I'm sorry, about how Phil, Punk, and Roman are the very obvious main event of WrestleMania Night 2, but there isn't really a clear, obvious main event of WrestleMania Night 1 other than just the other world title match, whatever it happens to be. But if you make that other world title match Cody versus Randy, then all of a sudden that becomes even a contender of like, I wonder if maybe that would even be the main event of Night 2. I doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah, yeah. You know what, man? I can't believe I'm doing this because it's not normally like me because I originally was going to settle with I don't know, but you know what? I'm feeling all kinds of ways today on this weekly recap. So I'm gonna take a leap. I'm gonna say, yeah, I think Jacob might actually just screw Drew McIntyre out of the WWE title,
Yeah.
and then we get Cody Orton at
Well,
WrestleMania.
because
I mean,
that's the thing, right? Is
yeah,
like Drew screwing Cody has never really felt personal. It's always felt more about Drew just trying to protect himself and keep Cody out of contention for his title. But now he has to defend the title against him anyway. So I'm guessing what might even happen is Drew might get himself disqualified quickly as a way to try and just get out of the match, and Aldis comes in and maybe even makes it a no DQ match. And that's how we get Jacob interfering in such a way that doesn't end the match, screws Drew out of the title. Cody wins the match. Drew's pissed at Jacob more than anyone, and it leads to that match at Mania.
You know what? I think you've nailed it, man. I would personally prefer, and I know you would too, a multi-person match for the WWE Championship.
Yeah,
But
I even said
we'll
as soon
see.
as Randy won, I said, "Oh my God, Mania is going to be a four-way: Drew, Cody, Randy, and Jacob." But the more we look at it, now that we know that we've got this Drew Cody title match on Friday, the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, yeah, it's just going to be Cody Randy one-on-one. Cody's going to want to get revenge on Randy for that sort of cheeky RKO after they double teamed Drew. And Jacob and Drew are going to be going at each other's toes because it's going to be revealed that Drew was his attacker. Jacob was right about that. And then Jacob's going to screw Drew out of the world title. And that's going to be the program into Mania. I think that's like all the puzzle pieces falling into place for sure.
Especially because, in my opinion, now obviously there have been multi-person matches for world titles at Mania, but I think in recent history they really do like to keep them to one-on-one affairs to make it feel really special and like a big deal. So Randy Cody, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, they're probably doing that. But to talk about the rest of the men's chamber in reverse, because we went right to the finish. I mean, man, I gotta tell you, I really wasn't impressed with this. I really didn't enjoy this at all, especially because they really, really gave Logan another big rub. And I'm like, look, can the guy do impressive stuff? You know, when you coordinate him with him and stuff like that, does he have like that athleticism? Sure, he does.
Yeah,
And
but you
he's
know who
very
else fucking does? Javon Evans, and he's built for
Javon
this shit.
fucking. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Javon doesn't
And
have a fucking decade and a half of a bad rap sheet behind him that make people not like him as a human being.
exactly, exactly. And you know, I just man, because let's see here. Logan eliminated Trick Williams.
Three. He
Well,
got the
Javon
first
Evans
three.
before that.
He got the first
Yeah,
three. He got Javon, LA Knight, and Trick.
yeah, crazy. I knew Trick wasn't gonna win because I would say he's tweener right now, but I know he's like kind of being an
Yes.
asshole promo wise. But
Yes.
like having,
He's an
yeah,
asshole who talks shit to everyone, but mostly right now baby faces.
dude, I love how much the crowd loves him. I'm telling you, man, excuse me, because a lot of names floating here. That Sammy Trick matchup at Mania that I presume is gonna happen. That's gonna be fucking fire, bro. If they give them
Dude, I
time and if they
really
let
hope that
them
they
talk.
actually go that direction, that they do like the Austin Hart double turn with Sammy really like taking out all of this pent up anger that he's got on Trick, and Trick just like never giving up. And I don't know, Sammy doesn't really have like an iconic submission, but maybe he just kicks him in the face over and over again, and maybe we even get a little color, like maybe Trick like bleeds out the mouth, or maybe we get like a worked chipped tooth or something like that. I don't know. It could be really fucking fun though if they do it right.
Yeah, dude, because Sammy has really been kind of tilting lately, and that is the
Yeah.
one thing I've been paying attention to, like on the YouTube channels when they upload clips, because he did it again with Jacob Fatu this week, and yeah, he's spiraling. Either this is gonna be like Sammy just fighting through it all and still being kind of redemptive babyface, but no, I think WWE might really go with like he's descended, like he's
Mhm.
losing his fucking mind. He's, turning on the world and this and that. So, yeah, I'll tell you, if they put Sammy and Trick on the card, no cap, I think that is going to be one of my most anticipated matches of Mania weekend
Mhm.
because I don't want to, I don't want to jump the gun too much. So, before I even finish that thought, yeah, didn't like that Logan Paul really got his pushed as much as he did in the chamber. Trick is fire. Dude, I love the fucking backhand he does in matches, like the fucking backhanded slap,
Yeah.
and when he's like, what is it like? Don't talk or like don't talk when grown folk are talking or something to
Yeah.
that effect.
Shut your mouth when
It
grown
pops.
folks are talking.
Yeah, exactly. Shut your mouth when grown folk are talking. Like, dude, Trick is so plugged into the culture. I actually want to shout out Trick Williams too, because I know I posted this like several days ago. But the whole Lemon Pepper Steppers thing, that was a song actually that I listened to from Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, which is absolute fire. I love how Trick just wears the culture on his sleeve, and it works, man. It is money. It is cool, and that's what pissed me off about Logan eliminating him, because Logan, he's a YouTube star. He's a dweeb. I'm sorry. Like Logan Paul, he's famous, but being famous doesn't mean being cool, right? Trick Williams is cool.
Yeah.
And I hated that Logan eliminated him because, man, I really don't know.
Logan Paul
Obviously,
has about as much aura as a pasty white boy can have in WWE.
yes, yeah. And like I know we've had cool superstars before in WWE. I would say Obafemi as well is really fucking cool. But him and Trick, man, I think are two of the coolest entities, on the product right now to me. Like they're just about it, and I'm all about it. So really cool to see Trick have the success he does. Really wish he had a better chamber outing than being eliminated by Paul. LA Knight was just kind of, I mean, bro, I actually want to give you this one because I know it popped you hard. The fucking botch of the night in the men's chamber, him slipping on these fucking ropes. I mean, god damn, dude. What was it? What was it you said to Super Blue defending me, which made me hug you through the screen because you're just so beautiful?
Oh, he was trying to blame you for LA Knight slipping, and I just said, don't blame John. Maybe if LA Knight had better stamina, he wouldn't be sweating on all of the ropes. He wouldn't sweat. He wouldn't slip on him.
I'm gonna quote you directly here, which I'm only doing because I know you'd stand by it. You said, quote, "Your boy needs to stop tempting fate trying to do athletic shit when he can't bend over to touch his toes without straining a muscle. Old ass, stiff ass, been doing the same shit 15 years ass. Perfection. No notes. This,
I mean,
much
not
like
only
your
do you have
face,
no notes,
immaculate."
but I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, I knew you'd stand by it, which is why I knew you wouldn't have a problem me quoting you directly. Yeah, dude, that's the crazy thing, because here's the thing, talking a bit more seriously about LA Knight, which I dread doing, but he is really over. What does he even do at Mania now? Because I don't think he's in any, like, prominent storylines, unless he does something also with the Vision that isn't, Braun Breaker, because I assume Braun Breaker will be back in time to do the program with Seth, potentially.
Yeah.
But
I don't
like,
know. Do
we
we
don't.
know what the problem is with Breaker? Because I don't know what his injury actually is.
I think it was groin. I think it was like a hernia or
Oh,
something.
okay. Oh
Hernia
yeah, that's right. I
surgery.
did hear something about a hernia. That's right. Yeah. Hopefully he's back in time. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely hope so, because I really, that's another matchup that I'm like, you know what, that does kind of get me out of bed. Um, but did you have anything else you wanted to say about Men's Chamber?
Not really,
Because
no. I mean, look,
yeah,
you guys already know how I feel about most of these guys. I don't really have anything else to say. You know, I love Javon. He was
right.
great. You know, I love Trick. He was great. Fuck Cody. Fuck Logan. Randy winning was cool. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but he wouldn't have been in the bottom half of my choices either.
Yeah, pretty much cosign. Because when I originally was gonna jump, like talking about certain matches, at Mania, I was gonna talk about CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. So let's talk very quickly about Punk versus Finn. I want to give, since he didn't get to walk away with the championship, I want to give Finn his flowers, man. This dude's conditioning and his physique at this stage of his career, because I think he's like what? He's in his mid 40s, I think, at this point, is
Yeah, something like that.
he's insane, dude. Finn
He's
Power is
44.
insane. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I really, and I'm being serious with you all now, because I know sometimes I get ahead of myself and I say, like, put my foot in my mouth, or whatever. I'm not trying to body shame or be an asshole. I'm just calling it like I see it. Punk, I even said, I'll quote myself. Look, I quoted you earlier. I'll quote myself. I'll hold my feet to the fire. I said essentially that CM Punk looks like that dad that got off the couch to fight the other kid's bully, or the other kid's dad, and lost. And it just aging like Chicago made milk, I said. Punk, to me, I watch him work and I'm like, man, aging has treated you horribly. Meanwhile, Finn Balor, I feel like barely looks that different from when he first debuted in NXT. Like those
Yeah,
abs are still
Punk
defined as
has
fuck.
Punk
Yeah.
has 3 years on Finn, but if you compare Finn right now to Punk, even when he was in AEW, which I believe, if I remember correctly, he showed up in AEW in like 2022, which would be like 3.5 years ago at this point. So we
Yeah.
kind of get him at the same age Finn is now. Finn still just absolutely mogs his ass.
It is amazing that at 44, and I don't know if I'm glazing Finn too hard here, but this is just genuinely what I believe. So if anybody wants to flag the play, have at it. I genuinely believe if you were like, go to a 60-minute fucking Broadway or whatever, he could do it. Like, it was amazing to me
I mean, I'm
watching
sure
that
Phil
match.
could do it too. There'd just be a lot more laying in the corner resting.
And that's just it, right? Because to me, like, and I don't know if he was selling the match, he could just be really good at selling, and I could just be the super mark. But he really did look freaking blown up, and Finn's just looking like I could go 2 more gears at least on this. Yeah, I freaking love Finn, man, and I only say that because again, he did lose. I honestly think I will say this now since we're talking about people's pads at Mania. Obviously, Punk has got Roman Reigns. I am unironically rooting for Roman Reigns in that.
Yeah.
I hope he beats Punk and he just takes the world title off him. I think Finn's gonna work Dom at Mania and maybe take the IC title off of him. Maybe, and I stress maybe, because I know there was a little something on Monday, and again, I'm only mentioning this in connection with Mania and just Chamber, where I think Dom was seeking help with like a match or something, or for Finn to be at ringside, and Finn was like, "No, I got to focus on my match. Like, I'm not risking anything, like helping you out here." So, and there have been tensions between Dom and Finn for a long time, like on again, off again kind of thing. So they may finally pull the trigger, and that may be the route for Finn at Mania. And much like Roman beating Punk, I would root for Finn to beat Dom for the IC title. Finn's been an Intercontinental Champion before. He's had, a fun reign with it. I think he could do it again. And yeah, just freaking love Finn, man. Some really great stuff. That shotgun drop kick, kind of exploding the barricade, always a great spot. And yeah, I will give Punk credit for this, even though the sharpshooter looked like shit. Very clever spot, like how he countered, quote unquote, the coup de grace. I just wish the sharpshooter looked better because conceptually it's a brilliant idea. But yeah, not much to say about this match. Punk retains. Um, do we? Because I know I skipped over this because this was really the penultimate thing before Men's Chamber. Do we want to talk about the freaking box? Because I did not stop laughing when this review
I
happened. Do you
would
want to just skip over
rather,
this?
honestly, here's the thing. I've never gotten the appeal of Danhausen. There's the big reveal. It was fucking Danhausen in the box. They've spent a month on this shit, and it was fucking Danhausen. I've never gotten the reveal. To me, Danhausen is just a pasty little tiny white guy that covers his face in paint and does a silly little gimmick. It's literally just Colin Delaney with a little more creativity. I don't get it. I never have gotten it. I probably never will get it. I don't like it. I probably never will like it, and that's okay. And I don't think that people who like it should try and make me like it. And I know there are a few people in our audience, namely, I know that Alex Foster is a fan, and that is totally fine for him to be a fan. And I respect that. And I know that he respects that I don't like it. And that's cool. And we have our mutual disagreement, and that's totally fine. I just have never understood the appeal of the dude at all.
I I want to try and keep this from like my perspective, but also like not going in, but just kind of reacting to what I perceived I saw, right? And I say that to say that I felt like the crowd was so mild for that reveal because I think they were probably believing it was Jericho too.
Dude,
I think they were getting ready to
the
pop.
crowd wasn't making any sound at all. This was a
Yeah,
totally silent crowd. Like the box opened and the women came. And honestly, those women were probably in better shape than Danhausen is. Those women were built, and they came out with the Danhausen makeup on. No one reacted, and then Danhausen himself came out. No one reacted. The music played and talked about "I put a curse on you." No one reacted. He put a cup or a glass jar of teeth on the announce table. Apparently, nobody's going to get that joke except for the most hardcore AEW fans who hate WWE anyway. So why would they be tuning in? Like, this is one of the most tone deaf decisions by WWE's roster personnel management crew I've ever seen, honestly. This makes, and like, can I also just address, like, you have guys like Ricky Saints and Ethan Page going the NXT route, and this motherfucker skips it? Really?
yeah, dude, that is fair. I think. And again, I really don't want to like go in because I want to go in for things that actually matter. So I'm essentially saving that for our politics segment. Trust and believe. But if I was forced to make this work in a WWE context, I would have him, just again, this is just my opinion, my fantasy booking. I would have him kind of go a Hawkins route where he doesn't win a goddamn thing and he gets frustrated, and there are well-meaning baby faces. Maybe you even start small, like Apollo Crews or something, to kind of get him back on TV because he's an impressive enough athlete. And like maybe he starts accidentally cursing people, but then he starts to put it together like, oh, this curse thing is real. And then he starts really cursing people. I don't know. Or you just release him. I don't know. But, and then, because that's the thing, like, he's probably going to be a comedy wrestler based on how he's freaking debuted. But I don't see it. Like, I don't really care for Santino as a person, but I will admit that he was a genuinely good comedy wrestler to the point where when he almost won a freaking Rumble and an Elimination Chamber, the crowd was losing their goddamn mind.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't see him as that and this is going back to Danhausen now. I don't really know if he can be a comedy wrestler of that magnitude. Really, to me, I think he's going to be on main event within 2 months. And like that may just be his show. Main event may just become the Danhausen show where they do
It's
hijinks or whatever. Maybe he'll get his own YouTube show on the YouTube channel exclusively. But like, you see what I'm kind of getting at here is like
I
I
mean,
don't really
yeah,
know what you do
like
with him.
I think to me
You
this
know?
is very like Lexus King all over again, where the WWE brings in a guy who was a dweeb in AEW, and then they want to be like, hey guys, this guy that AEW had on their roster, look at what they fucked up with. Look at who Tony fumbled again.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why they keep trying to do this with the biggest actual dweebs in AEW when like Powerhouse Hobbs is on your roster now and you're doing jack shit with him. You're showing him crying on TV every fucking week rather than actually having him go out and beat the shit out of people.
Yeah, the quote unquote biggest success I would say they have, with the dweebs. I feel like Ethan Page finally found something with the stuff he was doing with Chelsea
Dude,
Green, and I would credit that more with Chelsea Green than anything because she's freaking magnificent at what she does.
here's the thing. Here's
Um,
the thing though. Ethan Page, I I think Ethan Page is going to be a really solid mid card guy, even on the main roster. I think he's got a career in WWE. He's basically like uh, like the next Miz, basically. He's a guy that can
yeah,
go out there and just be a goofy generic heel and get other people over, and he has a job for life by just being able to do that, and that's fine. But like maybe Danhausen has a job for life too, just doing goofy shit.
yeah, maybe,
But I don't
but
know how
again,
that's
like,
gonna draw any fucking money. Like I know the old phrase is funny doesn't draw money, but I've never really thoroughly believed that. But I think there are instances when if all you offer is being funny and you're not believable at literally anything else, and you know like that's it, maybe funny doesn't draw money in that case.
and really one more thing since I've been making comparisons. I know I use Santino and I do stand by that, but obviously the comparison that was right in front of my face and I profusely apologized to him, Ron fucking Killings, who's genuinely hilarious and can
Yeah.
like go in the ring despite the fact that he's in his 50s, I
Well, that's
think
the thing,
now.
right? That's why I
Like
said when you don't offer anything else, because
exactly.
if
Yeah.
you're funny and you have other things to offer, then sure, like the funniness I think contributes to your ability to draw money because it shows personality. But when the funny is literally the only thing you offer, I don't think that I'm interested in you at all.
Oh my god. I'm still thinking about fucking truth bits, that just pop me. And yeah, like I really don't know. But good luck to Danhausen and to any of his fans, like congratulations. Jericho was not, which makes me wonder, like, he is returning to the company,
You
right?
know
I
what?
thought that
This
was
might be one of
confirmed.
those classic WWE bait and switches where the big reveal was someone that nobody gives a shit about, or rather an underwhelming reveal, I'll say, to be more generous. And then the big reveal comes like the night after or the week after, and it's going to be Jericho either tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah. All right. So then we got Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky versus AJ. The match was fine, I
Was it?
guess.
I genuinely paid like 2% attention to this match. I could not have cared less. The build
Here's
of
the
this match
thing.
has been so miserable that it made me actively want to not watch it.
And see, I love that for you. But was working out because, I know it's audacious to think that you can tone perfection, but I try anyway. And I thought, well, I need some kind of stimulation because if I'm just walking, listening to nothing, watching nothing, I'm just going to go insane. So I watched the tail end of this to start before I switched to music. It was fine.
How did
Actually, I
AJ
think
even
Super Bowl,
win? Did she win with an impact move, or did she win with like
uh,
her
the Black
pocket?
Widow submission that she does.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
like the octopus.
Becky, yeah, Becky tapped out.
Oh wow.
Um, I know Super Blue asked this question. I don't want to jump the gun because I know Q&A is its own question, he had asked if he thinks Becky is going to face Jess Carr at Mania because there's been this whole thing where Becky blames Carr as a referee for kind of screwing her over, and they kind of got into it even a little bit tonight in this match because Becky tried to use the turnbuckle that got exposed earlier in the match, on AJ, and Carr stopped it, and Becky was kind of looking at her and kind of mouthing off during this and that. So they've had tension. We know Carr was on Evolve. Do you remember what her Evolve ring name was when she was wrestling in that mask?
No, but she was
Because
basically
I
like
don't
a
remember.
female abyss.
Yeah, exactly. And so I really have to wonder with all that, and really, I'm going to assume you haven't either. I haven't touched Evolve in months. Like I think
No,
the
I
last
haven't
time I
either.
watched it was Charlie Dempsey versus Timothy Thatcher, which was a fun match. But like as far as the overall
Calyx.
product, okay,
Her
okay,
name, yeah, her evolved name when she's like female abyss is Calyx.
okay. I don't know how much further Calyx has progressed because I again just haven't touched Evolve and you haven't either.
Hmm.
But maybe I'm just gonna say
It's
maybe, and
funny you
someone,
say
yeah.
that you don't know how much she's progressed because I remember the last time we saw her on Evolve, she was not very impressive. She was kind of uncoordinated, a little sloppy, just not really like with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think she's a great referee. I'm happy she's with the
Oh, for
company.
sure.
But yeah, like if we're just keeping it 100, I felt the same
It
way.
would be funny as
And so
hell
yeah,
though if like Becky starts picking on her and she starts to be like, "Listen, Becky, you don't want to mess with me. I have a dark side. You don't want to wrestle me. You don't want to get in the ring with me. Just trust me. You got to just take my word for it. You don't want to see what happens to me when I get in the ring as a wrestler." And they tease it for weeks, and then next thing you know, they reveal that she is secretly Calyx.
see, I agree. I like that, and I would have Becky just because she's just so obnoxious when she really gets in that heel mode where like maybe she even laughs when she first hears that from Jess, like,
Oh
Becky,
yeah.
don't do this, like,
Oh my god, yeah.
uh,
That's the thing. Like Becky's
yeah.
really good at selling her opponents. But like first, absolutely, she's a referee. Of course, he's gonna be like, or she's gonna be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, "Oh my god, you're crazy. What do you mean I don't want to get in the ring with you? You mean you don't want to get in the ring with me? I'm the best of all time. Everyone says it. I'm not the only one saying it. Sports Illustrated says it. All that shit."
Yeah.
And Jessica just keeps insisting, like, no, just you got to take my word for it. You got to trust me. You don't want to be within 10 feet of me when I'm in mindset to be a wrestler. And then Becky just keeps poking the bear and poking the bear, and next thing you know, Becky is in the ring, and a weird, unfamiliar theme song hits, and out comes Calyx, and Becky has to sell the shit out of it. She has to sell like she's afraid for her fucking life. Like she has to get
Yeah.
counted out of a match she really wants to win. Like she has like a match with like Maxine Dupree, and we know she hates her, and she gets counted the fuck out of that match because she runs away from Calyx. She's that scared.
Yes, it needs to be like Triple H levels when Mankind became Cactus
Yes,
Jack. Like, oh
yes,
shit, you know?
exactly.
Yeah,
Historian
yeah,
motherfucker you are.
yes. Um, but this leads to a more interesting question then. Assuming that Becky is just severed from all this going on, what does AJ do for the Women's Intercontinental title? Now, I see right now, right now, one of two options. Either you do Becky again,
Which is what I
which I
expect.
find kind of boring, or just because WWE likes to jerk themselves off with how progressive they are when it's convenient for them, a multi-woman ladder match for the women's intercontinental title. Because mid-card titles and ladder
Yeah,
matches at Mania,
they could do that.
name a more iconic duo.
They could go
Yeah,
that route for sure. That's I don't know about a ladder match. I don't love the idea of a ladder match. I don't like ladder matches in general, but yeah, they could definitely go the route of a multi-woman match.
yeah,
Um, I do honestly. I think it's just going to be Becky and AJ again, and maybe maybe something happens with Jess Carr in that match that sets up the Becky Jess feud going forward after Mania, and then AJ can move on to someone else. Maybe we get a little bit of a roster shakeup and we get like AJ Lee versus someone that was previously on the SmackDown roster. Maybe Zelina Vega or something like that. I have no clue, especially because there's so much history there between those two. Um, but yeah, I think that's just what it's going to be. Honestly, I really do. I think that it's just going to be that, and WWE doesn't really have any interest in being creative with it. How long has that feud been going, by the way? Because I feel like it's been going on since like August or September.
That's probably right. It's probably right. I would say
Fucking
September at
wild.
least.
I know there was a little
Yeah.
bit of a break in there because AJ hasn't been around consistently the whole time. It's still just unbelievable.
And then after women's IC, I think it was just well, actually before because we're kind of working backwards. It was just women's chamber. So yeah, women's chamber, which I thought was the better of the two chamber matches,
I agree that it was
and
better of the two chamber matches, but I still felt kind of underwhelmed by this match itself. It felt very like I don't want to say paint by numbers, but it did feel kind of underwhelming to me. I just wasn't really into this match like I thought I would be.
yeah, same. I mean, because dude, here's the thing: for both chamber matches, low key, when I remembered what the field was and they were all kind of coming out, doing the procession like who gets a pod and who starts, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, this is mid as fuck. That was just kind of my reaction if I'm being truthful. I will say happy that Rhea won. Very pleasantly surprised, and I gotta give credit to Super Blue because I give him a hard time all the time. He called this, and I was the one that I was like, oh, you just getting being wrong out of the way early to help Knight's chances, and he was right. So again, I'll say publicly, like, yeah, Super Blue, you called your shot and you were correct on this one. Thankfully, LA Knight still failed, so it was still a good night for the rest of us. But yeah, Rhea won. And yeah, it's gonna be Rhea versus Jade at Mania. Man, you know what? If this doesn't rubber stamp also the WWE thinks that Rhea is one of the best workers they have,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what does, because they've seen the magic she's worked with Charlotte,
Yep.
and they're like, do it, but now with Jade.
I dare you. Put on a good match with
Yeah.
Jade.
Yeah.
Double dog.
And you
dare
know what? The crazy thing is, I believe in Rhea to do it. I think she can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're powerhouses, and powerhouse matches can be really good without either one of the people in it being really good work rate people.
Exactly. Kiana James, I thought looked fine in this. Asuka continues to be fucking awesome, even this late in her career. Her stuff, especially when I think she had it was Kiana, and who else was it? It was Kiana, and it might have been Rhea, but I don't think
Opening
so.
the
Or it might have
match?
been Tiffany.
Yeah,
It was Tiffany.
Kiana and Tiffany to open the
It
match.
yeah, it was Tiffany, and she just kind of had both their faces against the chamber wall, and she got like both knees on them, and the crowd's going, Asuka. Like, I love how brutal she is. Asuka's amazing, man. Fucking legend as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I'll even give Raquel credit. She had one spot that genuinely popped me, and it was the power slam through the pod. I believe that was to, I want to say Tiffany. And I thought that looked good.
Me. That freaked me out. I was really worried. I don't even think it was to Tiffany. I think it was to. Oh God, I'm so bad at remembering who people are. I don't remember who it was to.
I thought it was Tiffany, but maybe it was Kiana at Mo, because I know it wasn't Rhea.
I think it was Kiana.
Yeah,
I think it was Kiana because I remember being worried for the person, and if it was Tiffany, I wouldn't have been.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I pop for it. I can't lie about that. Tiffany, I mean, the crowd was so behind her, and now I wonder what Tiffany's gonna do for Mania because like she is one of their bigger stars just in terms of how over she is, and of course who the company prioritizes.
Yeah.
I know you and I are kind of in a minority position here. So do they give her Charlotte? Find some way to give her a Charlotte singles match, even though Charlexa is still kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Who does Tiffany even have like history? Like, who has she been like feuding with anyone lately? Like, maybe Jordan, I guess, but I really don't know. I can't, maybe who is the current women's United States champion right now?
Well, I was actually, because Super Blue mentioned that, and I was gearing up to say that. I feel like Chelsea's still the champion, but she's injured right now. And I actually feel like Chelsea, much like Rhea with Jade. Did Julia regain it, really? Oh, I guess Julia regained the title. So, yeah, Julia. We could maybe do Tiffany versus Julia, which, man. I'm just gonna say it again, not to be that guy, but fuck, do I miss Julia and a Joshi promotion? Put Julia back in
Dude,
Monaco,
you've been
please.
saying that for the last like
I
2 or 3 months at
I,
least.
I know, but it's true. Like I do, and until I feel like we're seeing freaking Julia, or we've got a program worth her freaking time, because her versus Tiffany, like that doesn't get me out of bed at all. God damn it. But yeah, could be Julia Tiffany.
You
Because I
sound
got to figure
so
something
let
for her to
down
do.
by that.
Dude, pro wrestling let me down. Like,
It's true,
life's letting me down.
yeah.
Like,
Oh
Jesus
god, I
fucking
hate how true
Christ.
that is. Oh.
Yeah, like, the only refuge I have is your beautiful faces and my fucking family and philosophy when I get a chance to read it, and I have the fucking bandwidth not going out of my mind. But yeah, we got
Yeah.
Tiffany and Julia potentially. I wish Chelsea got healthy because I mean, dude, she's even been at ringside in a wheelchair, and they were chanting, "We want Chelsea," and
Yeah.
she kind of played it up as a heel bit, like, "I'm literally in a wheelchair, so rude." But like, I love that for her. I'm telling you, women's Money in the Bank 2026, baby. Let's fucking get it. Um,
I really I expect that. I do cuz the way that they were having some of the like upper management guys basically talk shit about her, say that she's not world championship material in WWE Unreal season 2 makes me think that WWE Unreal season 3 is going to be talking about her being a potential world champion basically.
I know this isn't gonna happen. Whenever I say some outlandish shit, I always try and preface it by saying this now. I know this isn't gonna happen, but the only thing that bothers me with Money in the Bank is that it's been so long since we've had like a clean cash in. I would love for Chelsea to do that and just shove it down their throats. Like, I'm not just gonna steal this world title that you people don't even believe that I should have. I'm gonna earn it, and then I'm gonna really shove it in your face. That'd be such a great freaking story. But again, I don't expect that. So yeah, we'll see. I really don't have any other notes from Women's Chamber. Just Asuka's amazing. Happy Rhea won. Gonna be interesting how that build up looks. And yeah, yeah. That's Chamber. So I didn't even really watch NXT, or I really don't even remember NXT if I watched any clips from it. Did you see any of NXT this week?
No.
Actually, I
Oh my
lied because
goodness.
I saw
Actually, you
I
know
saw
what? You just made me realize that I watched a highlight clip of NXT this week, so I did see what they wanted me to see.
yes, I saw the one thing that I cared about, and that was Zarya beating the shit out of Sol Ruka and presumably going heel, but of course, Full Sail was chanting Zarya's name after she F5'd Sol on the announce table, which, here's the thing, Full Sail, you can have your opinion, but I have to ask, what the fuck?
I
Like,
hated this personally. Um and I can explain why. I know I always like to say the big bold take out loud first and then explain later. So, here's my thing. I I think everyone knew that we were going to get a split up between these two at some point. I get it, whatever. It's fine. What I hate about the way that it was handled was, first of all, how long it got dragged out. I hate it when they do this where they will drag out a super obvious breakup for way too long. And what makes it worse for me personally, and in my opinion, is that they then used and took advantage of the breakup to basically throw away a Sol Ruka world title shot at JC Jane. So now you've got a breakup that's been dragged along for way too long. B, a Sol Ruka title shot that got thrown down the fucking trash chute. And C, a very quick, easy JC Jane retention that does nothing for her title reign at all. And it's another JC Jane, D, I should say, it's another JC Jane title retention that doesn't really feel like it gets us any closer to her losing the title. And she needs to lose the fucking title.
yeah, I will admit, first of all, Soul took those F5s impeccably. Like, just the form and everything of them, probably because
Yeah.
of her athleticism and everything on the rotation, they looked fantastic. Second of all, like, this is how Zarya should have been booked from the beginning, because she really felt like a menace, like, I'm gonna rip your head off. It is amazing how it kind of started that way, but then went sideways so quick. Third, I do agree with everything you said. Just to acknowledge that, I really don't have anything to add on that front, which is why I just kind of went in my own direction, because I do agree. I just don't have anything to add. But third, I will admit, I will admit, JC Jane, who I have likened several times at this point to early 2000s Jericho with how she like skates by with the title and being overlooked and this and that, she did pop me a little bit because after she pinned Soul, the first words out of her mouth were, "I did it." Like it was this great exertion for her to retain the title. That got me. I can never lie. Good stuff. And as far as the program between
Like,
these two,
that's my thing too. Is like, I agree with you. JC doing that is like, haha, funny, cute, good heel shit, whatever. I'm just so over JC Jane, maybe the 10th or 11th best woman on the roster, consistently being booked as the world fucking champion. I hate it.
I will say my fourth and fifth points, my fifth being final. I do hope a Zarya Sol Ruka program benefits Zarya and Sol can get called up because I'm ready for her to be main eventing manias and winning championships. That woman is amazing. Whenever you're ready, WWE, I'm ready. And my fifth point, I am more emboldened than ever. I know my wrong counter is girthy as fuck, but I am more emboldened than ever that Jada Parker is going to be the one to beat JC Jane for that NXT Women's Championship. And the words of Jada, clock it, because I really believe now that she's babyface, yeah, she's going to be the freaking one. Especially because Tatum doesn't seem like she's anywhere like even in kayfabe, remotely interested in getting that rematch because she's so dialed in on getting the women's North American championship. So yeah, there we go. There we go. There was that, and that was the only thing. But you said you saw. Was it like a highlight video of all the clips from NXT this week?
Yeah, it
Because
was
I
literally
just
just like
yeah.
a YouTube video of like NXT highlights from the whole show.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was the whole show. So I do have an idea of everything that happened, and that's why I was able to commentate at all on the Zaruka breakup because I saw that it happened right before the bell rang, and that like the fucking bell rang, and then as opposed to when Money in the Bank cash-ins happen, and the referee makes sure that the other person, it's all selective bullshit. I just hate how inconsistent WWE is at abiding by the rules that they put in place. It's such garbage horseshit to me. Um, but like he, or yeah, like the ref basically, Sol Ruka is fucking shell shocked. She just got hit by a literal finisher that should keep her down for the count. And she's basically in shell shock, and she's dealing with the emotional weight of having just gotten devastatingly attacked by her former friend. And the ref's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And Sol, obviously not fucking okay, says because she's a competitor and an athlete, "Yeah, sure, I'm okay." And the ref's just like, "Oh, okay, I'll take it." And she rings the fucking bell, and the goddamn forearm from JC, and the match is over. It's like, I appreciate good heel work, but what I hate is when good heel work requires the writing around it to bend around it to make it work. And that's what's happening here. They are writing this in such a way that goes out of its way to bend the rules in favor of JC in order to get her to be a good heel. I think that's horseshit writing. And this is why I say that NXT is the worst written show on television in wrestling.
Which is crazy because I feel like there was a time it used to be one of the best written shows in wrestling,
Not
and
even that long ago, a couple years ago, maybe even a year
yeah,
ago, I might have said that honestly. No, because a year ago there was some pretty horrible bullshit going on. Actually, it wasn't. It's like a year and a half ago at least.
yeah. Um, but as far as the NXT highlights you watch, is there anything else worth noting? Because apparently, according to Javaris, Swipe Right won the tag titles, which
Oh
I
yeah,
think is a positive.
yeah. No, they did. They
Yeah,
won the tag titles from fucking Dark State.
because it was it because of Tony D who promised
It
to
was
destroy
because of
Dark State.
Tony fucking D.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
again, like, I really like, maybe this is like me being an old school like grandpa yelling at clouds, but I really prefer my pro wrestling to be written in such a way that feels like the babyface has to overcome odds created by the heel rather than the babyface having to overcome odds that are just created by the fucking writing of the show.
Yeah.
Like, Swipe Right didn't do jack shit to actually win the titles. They were just lucky enough to have Tony D there by their side to win them. JC Jane didn't do jack shit to beat Sol Ruka. She just lucked into Zarya randomly deciding to finally betray Sol on this show of all shows. What
Yeah,
happened to the days when heels actually knew how to fucking cheat in a way that they could get fucking away with?
dude, right?
Where the
Because
fuck are the
we ain't.
William
Yeah,
Regals of the world? And hell, I'll even go here. What happened to the Triple H's of the world?
yeah, yeah. Because too that we're not getting satisfied on that from Joshi even, and I
Hell
love
fucking
Joshi to death,
no.
but I have to call that out too because I mean you and I reacted to Starlight Kid versus Kamitani recently. I mean what the hell, the ref looking right at a belt spot right on the outside. And no DQ, no anything, can interfere multiple times, nobody gets ejected. Like I love the classics, man. Like even like watching some wrestling that I grew up with as a kid. So I'll be the old man yelling at clowns with you. One of my favorite spots is when a faction member could interfere and the referee like ejects them. Now they still do that. They do still do that. But yeah, it's like, work the match, get the actual heat,
See, and that's
for
the
the
thing. I don't
heel.
even blame the
Yeah.
individual wrestlers. I don't blame the wrestlers because they don't write the show. The
No,
wrestlers
no.
don't write the show. They don't book the show. They don't really have that much control over what they themselves, their characters, are being made to do. It's entirely on the writing teams. And when you are writing a show to try and make certain people get over in a good way and certain people get over as heels, the people that you're trying to get over as heels shouldn't be over in such a way of like, oh well, golly gosh darn, they just lucked into it. They should be over as in like,
Yeah.
man, like they're really good at finding ways to win even though they're not better than their opponents. It shouldn't be like, oh well, he tripped on a fucking banana peel and fell backwards into a championship. It should be, wow, he laid out a banana peel for his opponent and let them trip over and took advantage of it to win the title. That's how a fucking
Yeah.
heel wins, goddammit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really a sad state of affairs, I gotta tell you.
And that's the thing
It's
too,
really
is like having a cutesy like like a luck box gimmick could be fun if it was one person doing it and you wanted them to be a babyface. A luck box babyface gimmick could be fun as hell. Someone who like accidentally falls into wins. That's a fun gimmick that you could do for one person. But having heels accidentally win matches because the circumstances around them fall into place perfectly for them to win without them having to fucking try is bullshit. And it's not compelling and it's not helping anyone get over at all.
yeah. Again, I really have nothing substantive to add. I will just check in with you real quick since again you saw like a highlight video. How do we feel about Miles Bourne as the new North American champion? I think it's a good fit for him, and
You
clearly
know,
NXT's been interested in him for a while.
Miles is fine, but I already stopped caring about him. It feels late. It feels like too little too late for him, honestly.
I know I'm stuck in the past, but I still miss No Quarter Catch Crew.
Oh
I
no,
do
I
still,
I
yeah,
miss No Quarter Catch Crew, but here's my thing. If I had it my way, the guy from No Quarter Catch Crew that would be getting this rub would be Tavion, not Miles.
yeah. Yeah, low key, I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way. I kind of want Tavion to just go back to Noah since I already have a Wrestle Universe subscription and just kind of tear shit up there again. Like he was getting over there, and then he goes back, and I feel like he's already like cooled off again. Where Miles now, like he's clearly the priority, and I'm not saying Miles shouldn't be. I like Miles Bourne, but yeah, Tavion's a stud, man. You shouldn't let a talent like that go to waste. I would put him back in Noah, be like, you
It's
know what? Yeah,
it's wild too because someone like I think Alex or someone posted a X post earlier, a Twitter thing, where someone basically pointed out how white all of the champions in NXT are now, and it just made me realize, like, damn, almost every single one of these has at least one or more horrible decisions behind it. And I love Swipe Right, but them winning the tag titles might have been the worst decision out of all because like how how bad has NXT's writing gotten that they can't get Dark State right?
yeah, that's rough, man. That's rough.
It's just crazy. Like Dark State was so fucking cool, and then they started letting Cutler talk, and they lost all their aura. And I guess that whoever's writing NXT decided, hey, they don't have their aura anymore. So rather than getting rid of the dude that made them lose the aura, we're just gonna book them like fucking dweebs.
Yeah. Dude, I still can't believe that. And here's the thing. Some of the clips that Foster has posted in the Discord, so shout out Foster, where they're just kind of talking like bros and stuff. I do find that genuinely endearing. But here's the thing. You have two different ways to make them cool. You can either go the more shield route, or you can go with like, hey, these guys are kind of living the dream and they decided, strength in numbers, whatever, but they're also pretty down to earth when they want to be. But like the booking still needs to substantiate either one of those visions, right? And when you have one guy, and I know Tony D is like a bigger guy and he's got that wrestling background, but when you have him kind of manhandling everybody and making them lose momentum, it's like, okay, well, when do they get to fight back? When does it seem like Tony is in a perilous situation because as good as he is, he's still one guy against all these other guys. Yeah, it's wild to me personally.
I really want
Just
to
yeah.
see Dion, Saquon, and Osiris just beat the fuck out of Cutler and kick him out of the group, and then we just get our shield because we've
Yeah.
got the powerhouse, we've got the Roman and Osiris, we've got the lunatic, the weirdo in Saquon, and we've got the architect, the smart guy, Seth in Dion. Like it's perfect. You've literally got a new shield. I'm pretty sure all those guys are under 32, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird with Cutler because I know he's kind of like, let me just say this really awkward thing is kind of a humor thing, and it pops me occasionally, but it's not consistent. And I don't really know personally what you lose if you excommunicate him. And I'm
Yeah,
not trying to be uncharitable. I'm genuinely asking, like, what do you lose if you cut him? Because
Sugars
I don't.
Sugars is 25, Dion is 28, and Osiris is 28.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I don't
Cutler
know.
James,
There's
I
so
actually
much.
don't know
Yeah.
how old Cutler James is. There's not a lot of info. Oh, he's on the younger side too. He's 25. He's the same age as Sugars,
Okay.
but his ceiling is like fucking what's Shelton Benjamin's old tag partner's name? Charlie Haas. That's like
Yeah, Charlie Hunt.
that's
Yeah.
like that's like Cutler's ceiling is Charlie Haas.
Anything else from the NXT highlights that you want to discuss? Because, yeah, the only thing
By the
again
way,
was
I just
Zaruka
want
for
to
me.
address in chat right now. Javaris said, I don't want that. I actually like the funny shit. Javaris, if you like the funny shit, then you would love Cutler James as a solo act, which is what he should be. He shouldn't be associated with Dark State. Those guys are cool as fuck, and they should be allowed to be cool as fuck without the dorky, dweeby, funny shit being associated with them, in my mind.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, because Kyler James kind of reminds me of, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. The guy, the fucking old tag, because I'm blanking on both their names, so I'm really screwed. But the guy that's in Evolve, Jensen, Brooks Jensen. He's got a similar energy to me of Brooks Jensen. That I
That
got it.
is
I got
very
it.
interesting.
Yeah, I actually think he's better than Jensen for the record. I actually think I prefer him to Jensen, but I put them kind of on a similar spectrum personally. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But man, dude, I had such hope and hype for Dark State when I first saw them, and that fucking team power bomb they did that popped me fucking hard to go from that. And I really thought one of them, presumably Dion, would have been NXT champion by now. And to go from all the hope and all that conjecture to this as reality, it's a steep fall, my man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very bruised. I'm very bruised. Um. So yeah, anything else from the NXT highlights that you would feel is worth mentioning?
That's a great question. I'm pulling up a list right now because I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but maybe something could spark my memory. You've been doing a great job of sparking my memory by just bringing shit up.
Yeah.
Um, Keanu Carver beat Sean Legacy. That's cool.
Nice that they're really
Um,
pushing Carver.
oh yeah, Elio Lafleur, the fucking white luchador out of I believe France, won the Speed Championship off Jasper Troy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He even pinned Troy directly to pin it to win the title.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So funny because you're like, oh well, that's cool, and I'm like, it's gross. I hate it.
Yeah,
Because you already know I like Jasper Troy, and I'm not a fan of white luchadors ever. So
that
like,
is true. Yeah,
can't say I'm a
yeah.
fan of this decision at all.
Bro, I'm just so disconnected from everything, man. I'm like, okay, that happened. So when
Yeah,
I say cool, it's not even really an endorsement, more like, well, that happened.
yeah,
I wasn't there for it, but it happened.
yeah.
Uh,
Then we had a really cool Tatum Paxley promo. Where did you see this? Did you see the Tatum Paxley promo?
I did not. I know that I think she
Oh,
challenged Izzy
dude,
Dame to one more match for the Women's North American title. Was it
dude,
good? Please tell me it
you
was good.
would fucking you. I honestly, I'm tempted to have you go find it and react to it right now because you would fucking love it. Because she basically cut a promo about how her entire life, she's been like trying to like find love, and she craves acceptance, and she feels like she's found it from the NXT universe.
Did it pop? Did they pop for
Yes,
that?
they
Please.
loved it, dude. It
Good.
was great.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, they were super into it. She walked through the crowd. She was standing alongside the people. It was great, dude. You would love it.
You know what? There is a minute 59 version of that segment on YouTube. I'm just gonna 2 times speed it real quick.
Yeah.
I want to see this. So just give me a moment, people. Okay, volume up. I have my crisp on, so this shouldn't play through, hopefully. And yeah, 2 times speed. Here we go. I like the close camera shot, and then zooming out.
Yeah.
Nice. Aw. I mean, I feel like Lyra's learned to really love you too, but I'll let that slide. Oh, okay. Okay, she's challenging Izzy for Vengeance Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the heat that Izzy gets. Okay, yeah, that was it. I'm glad I watched it on 2 times speed. That didn't take any time at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff. I wonder if it's gonna have a stip to it with these two, but I mean, I love Izzy Dame, but I do kind of hope that Tatum just wins and she's actually able to have a proper title reign because that women's NXT title reign, it was really just a prop to transition more fully into the Izzy Tatum feud. So yeah, we'll see. That was pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Another thing that I hated on the show was that Thea Hale pinned Blake Monroe clean.
Oh God. Oh God. Dude, I really hope this isn't a case where like Blake, formerly the artist formerly known as Mariah May, was just better used in AEW. But I mean, we still have to give it time. We still have to give it time. But like losing to Thea Hale, I don't know about
Dude,
that.
I am fully just at the point now that like whatever happens in NXT doesn't count.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I just don't care anymore about what happens in NXT because it's like the writing is so bad, everything just feels invalid to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially too, like Thea beating her. Now, whatever you feel about Blake Monroe or Thea Hale, like if you're a fan of hers, like I'm not really judging that, but like let's just also focus on the point. And here I am about to take it more seriously when you just said like the writing is so bad it's invalid. But like she's in a feud with Jada Parker.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sorry, but I feel like kayfabe wise, Jada Parker, to me at least, is above Thea Hale. Although to be fair, Thea Hale did win controversially the Women's North American Championship. So power levels are bullshit, I guess. I don't know. But I feel like Jada, kayfabe wise, is stronger to me than Thea. And if you've got Thea beating Blake, then there's no reason to me that Jada can't beat Blake Monroe. Unless Blake Monroe considerably cheats, which I guess will probably happen. I don't know. So yeah, that is wild to me. I didn't expect you to bust that one out. That is egregious to me, is I think the word I would settle on.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, and since we just said we would do Chamber and NXT, the time has come now to talk politics. Okay, I am
Let's
going to
just
try.
immediately get into Iran because that is the lead.
Okay, I was gonna work backwards, but since you called your shot, we'll do it your way. Yeah. So This is so fucking big. I changed the Iran protest thread to the Iran protest / war with US and Israel thread because holy fucking shit. I am going to be honest, people. I am going to try to keep it strictly to news, and if I do any commentary, which I would also like to maybe avoid doing, I would like to keep it at the very end. Here are the facts as we currently know them. Now, I have been using CNN Live updates, and I know this is going to sound hypocritical. If you want to use it too, obviously I'm using it. I wouldn't be against that. But also consult independent media because I have watched 2 different videos, both very long, very comprehensive, from Secular Talk. Big shout out to him. He's going to give far better coverage of this than I would because I know he hit on things that I'm probably going to forget. But I'm going to consult mainly the thread that I had started and then kind of transformed. Here is one big thing. So the U.S. and Israel, in conjunction, Israel actually started the attacks, and I had posted an article in Politics, I think, a day or 2 before these attacks, with the U.S. saying, hey, Israel, we want you to kind of lead in on this. This way, when Iran retaliates, we look like we have a justification, which, let me just say something to that real quick, because, Ashton just lets me kind of marathon, and I try and do my best to cover every point possible. That already is a failure, because if this was even 10 years ago, that would have been ingenious. It would have been Machiavellian. I would have been like, well fucking played. But Gallup polling for the first time in 25 years shows that the U.S., American citizens, are more sympathetic to Palestinians than they are Israelis. Okay? There have been calls from every side of the aisle, Republican voters and Democrat voters, sever ties with Israel, down with AIPAC and like AIPAC adjacent kind of organizations, right? Israel is the poison pill in American discourse. If you say you're with Israel or you say, oh, Israel's not doing a genocide, which, by the way, Gavin Newsom did when he had Ben Shapiro on his fucking podcast, or maybe it was the other way around. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's not a genocide. Even though every major humanitarian institution and political scholars and scholars literally in genocide studies have said, yeah, it's genocide. And, your own eyes and ears, if you've seen enough photos and videos like I've been cursed to fucking see. So even them saying like, oh, hey, Israel, you go in, and then we'll be like, oh, well, you see, it's defensive. You think American citizens give a fuck? No, because Israel, again, poison pill. So even if that was the plan, not going to work. But they have struck multiple Iranian cities, including the capital of Tehran, multiple like military locations. And that's the crazy thing too, because the U.S. is like, oh, but Iran is encroaching on our territory, where the kind of meme that I've seen going around is, how dare you have your country around our military bases? Like, I need people to understand, and I think a lot of us do, so I'm not saying this in an angry way, I'm just saying in an exasperated general way. We have military bases fucking everywhere.
Yes.
Like, we're the most hawkish nation on fucking earth. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And honestly, I'm so happy that I could still get this fired up, because when I tell you people, it has been a rough 24 hours for your boy. Like, no wonder Ashton says sometimes he's worried about my mental health with how I consume this shit, because the problem is I feel like I have too much empathy, because I look at these people and I'm like, wow, I have family and friends that I fucking care about that if I lost would tear my fucking heart apart. And meanwhile, Israel just goes and they bomb a girls' school, killing 51 fucking students, because all the Zionist project knows how to do is murder fucking children and dispossess people. Oh my God, keep it together, John. Please, God, keep it together. So they struck multiple fucking cities. Now, here's the other thing I want everybody to understand. Now, unlike you guys, I know that when I give geopolitical explanations, they're not going to be fucking wasted. Yes, that was a subtweet. But here's... Well, yeah, because you know what I shared with you earlier today on Facebook?
Okay.
Yes. So, I know when I give geopolitical explanations with you guys, it's not going to be fucking wasted. Iran is currently, and I've said this for the last... What was that?
I sneezed, and I thought I muted my mic, but I guess I didn't, so I apologize.
No, you're precious. We fucking love you. You're fine. Bless you, by the way. Or Gesundheit, as we say.
Thank you.
But, yes. So I've been saying for the last several weeks, maybe even a month, that Iran is currently in the midst, don't know what's going to fucking happen with that now, as we'll get to in a few moments, of democratic protests against the Islamic regime. Now, quick history lesson here. For those of you that are mostly unfamiliar with Iran, like I still am, because it's one of the oldest civilizations on fucking Earth, you know the name Persia? That is Iran. It was once Persia, then it became Iran down the line centuries later. That's how old the Iranian civilization is. So they're doing democratic protests against the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime came to power in 1979 after overthrowing the last Shah of Iran. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he was part of the Pahlavi dynasty. That's going to be important to remember later. Pahlavi dynasty was reinstalled back in 1953 when Iran elected democratically someone that I believe wanted to nationalize Iranian oil. Now, if you've listened to enough leftist commentary, you know that any other country exercising self-determination over their resources, not good. That's bad. That's bad against U.S. interests. That's bad against oligarchic interests. So, the CIA did the thing that the CIA does. They swooped in, they uninstalled that democratically elected leader, and they reinstalled again the Pahlavi monarchist dynasty. So, Islamic regime, that came from just overthrowing that dynasty, and that was in 1979 up to the present day. So there have been democratic protests against them for everything from inflation, which it should be mentioned was not helped at all, and in fact I would say accelerated by U.S. sanctions that have been on Iran for years, to the point where at one point, maybe like a decade ago, I had read about black markets in Iran for organ donation, fathers selling their kidneys so they could feed their families. Also, when COVID hit, like at its apex, there was a black market of medical supplies in Iran. That's how bad the economy was, thanks to U.S. meddling, because they just feel entitled to the whole fucking world. And now you know why I hate the U.S. empire, among a litany of other reasons, mind you. So inflation was one reason. Obviously, the Islamic regime is a corrupt government in its own right. It's a theocracy. It's very oppressive to women, all that stuff. I'm not going to go over that too hard because have you seen where we live fucking currently? But, it is still a fact. And there was a women, life, and freedom protest, I want to say back in 2020 or 2021. So Iranian citizens have been exercising political agency for the last several years, probably a lot longer. I'm not going to claim to know that history. I want to try and be as judicious and as honest as possible. So these protests have been happening. Obviously, the U.S. and Israel see this as a pretext of, oh man, because so many people across the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, have wanted regime change in Iran for years. Netanyahu especially. Bro, I don't know if you've seen this, right? But it is amazing when you actually see it physically, right? All the way back in 1995, I want to say, Netanyahu would use the narrative that Iran was like a few months away or a few weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Over 30 fucking years, bro. 30 fucking... I mean, any day now, right? Any fucking day now. So Netanyahu has wanted regime change in Iran forever, because it is part of what is called the Greater Israel Project, where Israel pretty much gobbles up all the territory in the Middle East, which I might add, because just when you think that there can only be so many moving parts, there's always more. Mike Huckabee did an interview with Tucker Carlson recently, and Tucker Carlson, who, let me be emphatically fucking clear on behalf of myself and TWitWoW, is a white supremacist piece of shit racist who I personally think would be better without oxygen, but, what can you do? He was actually the kind of sensible one here because he postures, at least on his show, as anti-war. And he says, do you know what the favorability of war with Iran is? And I forget the number Tucker Carlson said, but it's in the toilet. In fact, the last poll I saw was that 80% of Americans oppose war with Iran. However, within the MAGA base, I will say approval, I think, was 90% that I saw.
Jesus
because they're in a cult.
Christ.
Yeah, they're a death cult, and they feel they're entitled to everything, and their God King can do no wrong. And so, yeah, he calls out Huckabee for that. But we have to understand something. I just said a few moments ago that I'm not going to call out the Islamic Republic too hard for being patriarchal and theocratic. Why? Because we have religious fundamentalist extremists operating at the highest points of government. Because Tucker Carlson asked Mike Huckabee, how much is Israel really entitled to? Because if we're using the argument that God gave them Palestine, like that's their land ordained by God, then there's a quote, I forget what two rivers from this river to, I believe, the Euphrates, but essentially it's God promised all of the Middle East to Israel. And Mike Huckabee said, let them have it. Let them have it. That was Mike Huckabee, who is the ambassador to Israel on behalf of the U.S. They're Zionists. They are religious, extremist, Christian Zionists. and they want theocracy. That's the thing. They don't really care about Sharia law in Middle Eastern countries because they want to do Christian Sharia law here. They would love that. And they believe, and Kyle Kowinski made this point emphatically in his two commentaries on Iran today, they believe that doing all of this is going to accelerate the rapture and Jesus' return.
Yep.
I know I said I was going to save commentary for the end, but this is why separation of church and state, and look, I've chilled out in my 30s. I'm no longer the militant atheist I used to be. If you want to have intimate spiritual practices that are just very small communally, sure, but I absolutely have an intolerance for systemic institutional religion. Fuck the Vatican, fuck the church, fuck, again, religious extremism embedded in fucking government. Because this is what happens. Because for all the talk of hope and salvation and this and that, at its rotten fucking core, it is a deeply nihilistic ideology. That, I mean, my God, Trump even talked about, like, oh, Iran, it's time for you to rise up and take your government. We'll get peace in the Middle East. This whole contradiction of peace through bombs, it's disgusting. And they obviously know it, and they don't give a shit. This is not me doing the Jon Stewart thing about, oh, well, hey, that's kind of a logical contradiction, because they know the only thing that matters is power. I am just saying on a moral level, it is fucking grotesque. So,
you mind if I do a quick little Carlin quote?
Sure.
Going to war for peace is like fucking for virginity.
Yes, I think Kyle used the same one today, actually. Good shout, brother. Good shout on Carlin. So, and I appreciate you too, because I didn't have the foresight to get myself a bottle of water before this, and I should know that this is the John Marathon segment. So, yeah. And if you guys who are actually on the Discord, you can subscribe, link in the Patreon below. Ashton can vouch for me here. I feel like I've been following Iran pretty closely for like close to 2 years. And I've seen the rhetoric shift.
Close to 2 years, yeah. I think you really started following it closely in the summer of 24.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll say like a little over a year and a half. And so, I've seen the rhetoric change. Netanyahu, for God's sakes, blamed Iran on the Trump assassination, where it allegedly like grazed his ear and shit.
Except
Netanyahu
actually,
blamed.
now we know that there was no actual contact with Trump by a bullet at all. And what actually happened was that when Trump was being held down by the Secret Service members, one of their guns hit him inside of the face, and that is why he was bleeding.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And also, like, there's a genuine chance that was meant to be like a staged, like, genuinely, there's a real chance that that whole thing was a staged photo shoot, because one of the people in Trump's campaign, after the gunfire happened, were like directing photographers to where they needed to be to get the best shot of Trump after he came up from the crowd of Secret Service agents. And also the idea that like a 70-something incontinent man can just overpower the Secret Service agents that are trying to protect him to rise up and do the fucking fist up thing and do the fight thing is bullshit. There's no fucking way. That was 100% staged bullshit.
Yes.
And it cost
yes.
2 people their lives, by the way.
And CNN, yes, it did. Yes, it did. And then CNN ran a story about like, oh, Iran's secret plots against Trump, and I think they had like a Secretary of Defense be like, oh yeah, we have intel that confirms it. They were already that long ago manufacturing consent. I mean, hell, and this is why. And now I want to preface this by saying, do I think she would have gone about it differently? Yes. Do I think it would have been such a nightmare scenario? No. But then again, you have to ask nightmare for who. But I mean, when I say both sides have wanted to do this to Iran for a while, even Kamala on the campaign trail. See, because I'm not going to let people forget, on 60 Minutes, which you'd have to go to the official website to see because it wasn't on their YouTube version, very conveniently, they asked her directly, who is the number one enemy of the United States right now? And she says Iran. I'm telling you, they have wanted this for so long.
I wonder if now Obama would have said that during his presidency as well.
Maybe at some point, because who did he say? I feel like he was on the China bandwagon during his run, right?
Well,
I feel like China
regardless,
was his scapegoat.
though, I think the point that I'm trying to make is, even if Harris saw it that way, and even if she is being paid by the same people who wanted Trump to bomb Iran, she at least would have not done it without congressional approval.
Yeah.
Which means that there's a very real chance that it might have just not happened. I mean, it probably still would have. You're right. But there's a hell of a lot bigger chance that it wouldn't have happened under her, because she at least respected the checks and balances of Congress, unlike Trump, who just says, fuck it, bomb them, and then it happens.
Exactly. Now, here's where we get to the contemporary stuff, because I feel like I've laid the groundwork sufficiently here. Here's where we get to the contemporary stuff. So they've done the strikes on multiple Iranian cities, U.S. and Israel, both. Now, here is what Iran has done, because I actually want to talk about Iran's response, because the repercussions of that are insane. So Iran has targeted U.S. forces in Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. Bahrain has confirmed that the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet has been targeted by a missile attack. Qatar's defense ministry is saying that an Iranian missile has been intercepted. A loud explosion has been reported from the UAE capital, Abu Dhabi. Reuters news agency has reported Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE have closed their airspace. I actually want to stop on this one. That is fucking huge. The Dubai airspace, especially, like, that's, I think, one of, if not the largest international airport in the world. The congestion that this has caused in terms of travel and everything else is mind-boggling. Now, obviously, this is many, many hours later, but I know even like Kyle in one of his videos first reported on it. Again, I cannot recommend those two videos Secular Talk did, because I want you guys to have comprehensive coverage, and I know I am going to miss shit. I am doing the best that I can. But go and watch those videos, please, if you really want to be educated
honestly,
on this.
If people are so interested that they want to learn more, then I genuinely think the best thing that you can do is, rather than trying to do everything yourself, just redirect them to the resources that you are getting your info from, and they can learn for themselves if they care enough to.
Yes, yes. I also would recommend the political.
Time. It saves the people who don't care about it time. We can just move on past it then.
Yes, and I also recommend the Political Optimism subreddit, because that also keeps me sane, but they've done great documentation of this, as well as good news, just for people that fucking need it, and I know we could use all of it that we can get. So the big things that Iran has done, the biggest thing, I think, is closing the Strait to Hormuz, which the Strait to Hormuz, if I understand correctly, is where 30% of the world's oil travels through. So it's a huge oil and energy channel, right, that Iran controls. And that may be the beginning of them disrupting oil supply chains. Now, I want to separate speculated from reported. Reported, I think we can verify, and I could share links. Speculated is just conjecture that I'm hearing. So speculated, they may even strike a big Saudi oil company that's worth $3 trillion, like a massive oil supplier. I mean, Iran's not fucking around, because I think they knew that this was coming for a long time. Also, by the way, because the U.S. Trump actually gave a statement saying, oh, American lives may be lost, but that's the nature of war. You're a fucking draft dodger, bro. Shut the fuck up. Not to mention, they actually, bro, it literally is Iraq 2 Electric Boogaloo, because they did the weapons of mass destruction line again. They're actually doing it again. It's honestly mind-numbing that we lived through this as a generation, 9/11. And they really think, like, oh yeah, we'll just do it again. We'll just do it again. But here's the thing that everybody needs to know: Iran is not Venezuela, because what we learned with Venezuela was Maduro may have cooperated with the U.S. I don't know. He may have gotten a deal. We don't know. I'm still waiting for that shoe to drop. It really looks like, though, the vice president cooperated. That's for damn sure, because she had met with the CIA a few times and this and that. So I feel like Venezuela was kind of co-opted even before that abduction happened. And Iraq, obviously, I mean, the nationalism and the patriotism was at a fever pitch after 9/11. So on that front, you have none of that going on. I mean, there are so many fires domestically. You couldn't drum up support for a fucking war abroad. And secondly, I think 9/11 and the whole subsequent war was so traumatizing in its own way for Americans, although it was most traumatizing for Iraqis, and never forget about the millions of lives we fucking destroyed. But it was so traumatizing in its own way to Americans just living through it, and the fatigue. We're in Iraq for over 20 fucking years, that I feel like normal American citizens would never go to war again if it was truly democratically within their power, which unfortunately it is not. So yeah, you're not going to get that off the fucking ground. And then on a more logistic level, again, I really want to stress here, Iran has a population of over 92 million people. It is one of the oldest civilizations in the world, and it has military capabilities and resources that I think best Iraq. And again, this is nothing like what happened with Venezuela recently. That was purely an extraction mission that did have casualties, let it be noted. This is going to be a a protracted struggle, because they may think, oh, it's only going to be like air attacks and this and that. No, it's going to escalate. Iran has already made sure, which it has a right to do, by the way, because it was fucking attacked first, that it is going to be bigger than that by closing the Strait of Hormuz, trying to control energy channels, and striking these bases. Which, by the way, there's actually an Instagram video of citizens of Bahrain celebrating that the U.S. base over there got fucking destroyed. You're not going to have support. Houthis have already said the Red Sea, you're done. Like, you're not going to have it. And the Houthis have been one big reason why Israel, for a time, struggled to carry out its genocide against Gazans as much as it wanted to. Houthis were a real problem. The U.S. really couldn't handle them. So you've already got to deal with the Houthis. Now, with Lebanon, South Lebanon has already been struck, right? I saw that today from Kyle Quincy's video. Now, the prime minister of Lebanon has said, don't get involved. Remember your national commitments, pretty much saying, like, don't worry about Iranians, which, wow, because if you don't think Israel's going to come for you next, I have a bridge to fucking sell you. But I don't think Hezbollah, which is kind of their resistance guard over there, is going to stay silent with this. I do expect Hezbollah to get involved. That's just a prediction on my end. That is conjecture. That is not reported. But they interfered. They ran interference on behalf of Palestinians against Israel. I have to imagine they're going to do it here because Israel, and really just the U.S. as the financier of Israel, is an existential threat to the Middle East. There's no other way to say it. There is no other fucking way to say it. With all the meddling they're doing across varying regions, they are an existential threat to the Middle East. So this is going to be more calamitous than I think people initially realize in the moment, right? It is so much bigger than Iraq, and I'm not talking about like metaphorically, I mean literally geographically in size. Iran is so much bigger than Iraq. It is completely different complexion to Venezuela. And so I really, this is going to really intensify in ways that are going to be absolutely nuts. I'm worried about the global economic repercussions because of oil supply chains and everything else. But let's get to the biggest news, because now that Iranian media has confirmed this, because before it was just Israel, which again struck a girls' school, killing 51 students, and I saw a video of like the aftermath of parents screaming and everything else. So that's more PTSD for your boy. That's great. That's great. And a healthcare system that doesn't even fucking work. So that's wonderful. But the Ayatollah Khamenei, he's been killed officially. Now, this is a mixed bag, right? Because this is the same guy that Iranians were protesting. And there definitely does seem to be relief and even some jubilation from Iranians that he's dead. And also, there's an article that I just posted in the Iran kind of war thread that I haven't read. I have not read. I'm going to read this tonight at some point. But the headline is, Iran is built to withstand the Ayatollah's assassination. I believe it, because Iran's not fucking stupid. I posted way earlier, like last night, from the CNN kind of thread documenting everything. Let me see. Yes, I'm actually looking right at it. This is a timeline of Trump's military strikes in his second term. February 2025, Trump announced that he ordered precision military airstrikes on the senior ISIS attack planner, and other terrorists he recruited and led in Somalia. The following month, Trump announced that the U.S. military, in coordination with the Iraqi and Kurdish governments, killed the fugitive leader of ISIS in Iraq. But let me get to the big one here. I want to say that it was March 2025, Trump ordered strikes against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen in response to the attack. Okay, no. I'm trying to find the timeline where he did the strikes on Iran, because I want to say that I felt like that was June of last year, but it might have been a bit earlier. Okay, yeah. Over the summer, Trump launched Operation Midnight Hammer, targeting 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, which he said were obliterated. Now, there were contradictions to that report at the time, that they weren't really obliterated. There was some damage, but a lot was still salvageable. And if that's the case, Iran's not stupid, right? You get struck like that. You have Israel that has wanted to do regime change on you for fucking decades to get a puppet leader in there, who I have to remember to mention that part. I'm going to remember that in a second here. For decades, maybe even over 30 years, because I swear that one video was dated 1995 when he was doing the whole nuclear weapon rhetoric. Which, oh yeah, by the way, if you really sincerely believed in that cause, great job, jackasses, because now the big lesson every other country is going to learn is, wow, if I really don't want to be the victim of U.S. imperialism and meddling, nuclear armament's the way to go. I need nuclear weapons because that's a deterrent. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or as people know it as North Korea, they have nuclear weapons. And that's why the US really hasn't done imperialism or infiltration. They've certainly done sanctions, but they haven't done like that level because of the nuclear deterrent. So that's the lesson here if I'm an international body somewhere else, like outside of all this shit. So the Ayatollah has been murdered. Now, where does that leave things? I personally, because I've said this a few times on Facebook with my friends, I am going to share what I think is likely to happen if the US and Israel designs come to pass. So there has been a pro monarchy faction in these Iranian protests, backed by such people, and by backed, I don't mean financially, but I just mean supported in a general sense by Elon Musk, because on his Twitter, he has changed the Iranian flag emoji to the Iran monarchy flag. And it really seems like the monarchist faction is very favorable to U.S. and Israeli interests, and that brings us to a man named Reza Pahlavi. I mentioned the name Pahlavi way earlier because the Pahlavi dynasty was the monarchist dynasty in Iran up until 1979. When that revolution overthrew, and then you got what is now the Islamic Republic. I think, and Reza was the son of the last monarch there. So I think they want to install him. He thanked Trump for the attacks. He said, Iranians, we have to take our government now, that whole spiel. So I think they want a restoration of the Iranian monarchy that would be an Israeli shill and a U.S. shill and serve their interests, and again, serve the greater Israel agenda of really just controlling as much of the Middle East as they feasibly can. Do I think they'll succeed in this? Here's where it gets interesting. I'm not so sure because the US has even fired military generals and intelligence officials that have said that this is a horrible idea and we are not ready for a struggle with Iran. Because keep this in mind too, guys. We have been funding Israel's genocide of Gaza, but beyond that, we have also been a key player in the Ukraine-Russia war. First on the side of Ukraine, now seemingly on the side of Russia, and I honestly do not know where we stand currently in 2026 because I know Trump has threatened Putin at times, and Putin even recently, because Cuba still has this fuel blockade, which the last I read, they're trying to convert to solar in some parts. That was reported by Reuters. But even Putin tried to get oil to Cuba. That's like how fucking bad it is. Not to mention, speaking of Russia, we don't know how Russia and China are going to respond to Iran being aggressed on like this because I believe China, Russia, and Iran are all BRICS allies. And so, yeah, I know, Ashton, I don't want to misquote you here, but I feel like you've said that we've already kind of been in World War III since Russia Ukraine. But even if you want to be more liberal with that idea of like World War III, I definitely feel like we've entered it now. Like this, I really want people to grasp the magnitude of what the US and Israel have just done without popular consent from the masses because, of course, we fucking suffer and we still have to deal with economic bullshit and just socially repressive bullshit, which we'll get to in a few moments. But yeah, I don't know if they'll succeed. I think they have really underestimated Iran's resources here. I think they really have not worked through the logistics of this because I really believe that the military is just a glorified frat house. They really have this just very simplistic, oafish, like hyper masculine idea of military strength where it's like drop lots of bombs, win, right? Like that I really believe is kind of the ethos of this military. There's no acumen, there's no aptitude, there's no really thinking long term about anything. There's no genuine strategy to me, only brute tactics in my mind, because that's all they can really fucking comprehend. So, am I saying that Iran is going to defeat the U.S. military? Not quite. I'm not quite saying that. I am saying that I think that this is going to be a sunken fucking cost for the U.S., and it is going to be a struggle that is protracted for maybe, again, it'll be another Iraq of 20 years. I don't say that lightly. We really have to think about this. Again, it is so much larger than Iraq is. So, yeah, welcome to another war, everybody, that nobody fucking asked for, and it reminds me again of my favorite political meme of two separate rockets from nations firing at each other. The one set of rockets, my tax dollars, the other set of rockets, somehow also my tax dollars. And the wheel just keeps on fucking spinning. So
It's one of those things too where like the Republicans who voted for Trump, literally he ran on ending wars. He literally ran on not doing war, not starting wars, ending wars. And they've been duped and they should feel duped, but they're just going to double down even harder and support it.
Yes. Yeah.
At least, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are going to be some people who somehow this is their breaking point. This is their straw that breaks the camel's back, and this is what makes them not like him anymore. But it's not going to be very many of them. It's not. I mean, the the people who have already turned on him are not going to be surprised by this, and the people who haven't turned on him yet, I can't imagine that this is going to be the thing that changes their minds. You know what I mean?
To put a number to it, because I do fundamentally agree with you, I think his floor officially is going to be 28% approval. I think that 28% is your cult. 28, 29%. I do think it'll go below 30, but like, yeah, he's got people that are ride or die with him. He could literally drop a nuclear bomb on a fellow U.S. state, and they'd be like, I'm sure there's two sides to this. I'm sure they had it coming. Um, so
Well, we're
in
never going to
closing,
know because Trump's approval rating doesn't get tracked anymore.
yeah, because it's that fucking bad. So one last thing I want to say about Iran, and then I'll move on to more domestic affairs. And this is just straight from an Iranian themselves, and I feel like that was the best way to end it, is for Iranians to speak for themselves. So this was an Iranian man commenting on somebody's YouTube channel today. Quote, as an Iranian, I can tell you the situation is no longer just political, it's existential. We are trapped between two collapsing structures, one internal, one external. On one hand, we face a deeply dysfunctional government led by the supreme leader and the Islamic Republic's unelected institutions. Decades of economic mismanagement, suppression of dissent, and brutal ideological control have alienated multiple generations. Quick side note, they're actually still in an internet blackout right now, which also makes the situation very tense and very tenuous to kind of report on because nobody can really get a hold of anything. So, yes, no one believes in reform anymore because every attempt has either been co opted or crushed. But here's the paradox, we are also terrified of regime collapse because we've watched the aftermath of Western intervention in countries like Iraq, which was Bush W., Libya, Obama, Syria, kind of a mix of Obama and several administrations, Biden, and I think Trump won, and Afghanistan. Remember, we left Afghanistan and it fell to ISIS immediately, who the CIA trained, by the way. So, way to go, U.S. Keep on winning. Each was promised freedom, each descended into chaos, civil war, or foreign occupation. So, no, we don't trust the US or Israel, not because we support our regime, but because we know how imperial powers treat liberated nations in the Middle East. Freedom, in their language, often means vacuum, fire, and permanent instability. Right now, many Iranians live with three truths at once. The Islamic Republic is morally and politically corrupt. The alternatives offered by foreign actors are not liberation, they are collapse. A bad government is survivable. No government is not. We are not silent because we agree. We are cautious because we've learned too well what happens when superpowers decide to help. In a sentence, Iran is a nation held hostage by its own regime, but haunted by the fate of its neighbors. We are stuck in a house we hate, surrounded by fires we fear more. And in the words of that Iranian, because Iranians can speak for themselves, we will move on to domestic affairs. Now, okay, Bill Clinton gave testimony related to Jeffrey Epstein this week. Now, I actually pulled up AP News because originally I was going to field it to you, but then I realized there was like no video of his actual testimony, only coverage of the testimony.
Yeah, no,
So I
there's
just
no
thought it'd be
video of
better.
his testimony, but he did put out a video afterwards, basically explaining why he gave a testimony, which is just political drivel, basically.
Yes. He said, quote, I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. Classic. Uh, and apparently there was a photo of him in a jacuzzi with a woman, and he claims he did not know who that woman was. So, yeah, there you go. So
I mean,
Epstein continues.
honestly, at his age, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he genuinely couldn't figure out who that woman was.
Yeah. Also, while we're talking about Epstein files, I need to fucking talk about this. And again, kudos to Secular Talk for the video they did on this. RFK. And if I was in a better mood, I'd do the voice, but I'm already exhausted doing
Thank
this marathon run. I
Christ you're
really
not.
wish.
I'm not in the mood.
Yeah,
Listen to it.
I really wish that I got myself a bottle of water before we went live. I should have thought that through a little better. But yeah, RFK, he is in the Epstein files, but not for the reason you might fucking think. So we know, and Ashton originally educated me on this, that he seemingly drove his wife, Mary Kennedy, to suicide and lied about the brain worm and everything else so that, what was it, divorce proceedings or whatever,
Yeah,
that he could like get away with assets.
from what I
Yeah.
understand, he lied about having a brain worm to get out of having to pay either child support or alimony. I don't remember which. And Mary was basically left without a pot to piss in, and her basically having no resources to be able to take care of herself, or I assume they have kids that she was left with as well. Yeah, she eventually ended up killing herself, or allegedly
Yeah.
ended up killing herself, which is what we're about to get
Well,
into.
yes, because it was also alleged that he apparently had an affair book and his wife found it, and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of broke her, and that could have also led to her suicide. And apparently, and again, this is all speculative, but I believe it because of how fucking deranged these people are. He hated his wife so much, he hated Mary Kennedy so much, that he moved her from one grave to like an unmarked grave, somewhere maybe even in his backyard. And so, where it really gets fucked though, and where I'm like, wait, what? There is an Epstein email from, what was her name? It was Ava something. I think it was Ava Dubin was her name, and she said, "Oh, Mary Kennedy found dead or something." And then Jeffrey Epstein replied. So she sent that email to Jeffrey that Mary Kennedy was dead. And like I think Eva said, found dead, like buried in the backyard, in RFK's backyard. And Jeffrey Epstein replies, "Whoops." So do with that what you will, because that sounds sus as fuck to me. And so yeah, Epstein
So
files
basically,
continue to
it's
show.
another
Yeah.
week of the Epstein files revealing that a lot of the most powerful people in the country are horrible people who belong under the prison and nothing being done about it.
Exactly. Because you can't treat the Epstein files like an individuated thing. This shows the structural rot, the systemic, just violence and everything else of fucking capitalism, of patriarchy, of all these systems that people have been banging on about for decades.
Yeah.
But liberals are still going to be like, but if we can reform it so it's only violent to the right people. I'm so tired. So yeah, Epstein continues to be a fucking dumpster fire. There was another death on ISIS hands. Probably more than this, but it's a lot to keep fucking track of. This was a man who was practically legally blind. He fled from Myanmar, which was having a genocide. His name was Nurul Amin Shah Alam, 56. He was picked up by ICE, and then I guess rather than put him in one of the concentration camps they're formatting across the country, although I will say, proud of American citizens that have shut down sales of warehouses because they have closed a few of them now. So everyone helps, right? And like, good on them. Good on them, really. We need more of that shit. We need a lot fucking more with what we're dealing with. So instead of putting him in a concentration camp, they dropped him 5 miles from his house, and he was found dead on the streets of Buffalo, New York, when it was -7 degrees. So yeah, he pretty much froze to death because of ice. And I say
Wow.
these names too because again, we can't just focus on the white names that get a lot of the media attention because that's also part of the white supremacist project, right? Every life taken by ice fucking matters. And so yeah, rest in peace to that poor fucking man. He didn't deserve this. I've also heard some reporting inside concentration camps that they have taken away the crayons from the children because they keep drawing pictures asking for help. I know I've already in the politics thread reported on some letters that children have written. And yeah, I hate the US empire and I hate capitalism and I hate fascism and racism because all of these things, to be grossly reductive, are fucking stupid and make life worse for literally everyone. We don't have to live like this. We live like this because the people that control all the wealth and resources just decide that we're going to live like this because we're nothing to them. And I fucking hate them all so much, so may billionaires have the day they deserve. Let me think what else. I know Mehmet Oz, who is the head of fucking Medicare, and I hate everything about that fucking sentence, has called a moratorium on Medicaid products, so like prostheses, walkers, stuff like that, for 6 months. This is, again, part of the eugenic agenda to make sure disabled people don't get the technology and just the services they fucking need. I am
Mm-hmm.
telling you, rich people want us all to die. It is a eugenicist classist project because they believe the world is only fit for the richest of them and those that they deem worthwhile enough toadies to their interests.
They
The rest of us
literally are
can fuck off.
trying to get AI to reach a point that it can replace most workers who are not physical laborers, and then make it so that the people who can't do physical labor just fucking die.
Thank you for mentioning AI because we will get to the biggest domestic story in just a moment. I
That is
know
the scheme,
Javaris
though.
said,
That is the scheme.
yeah,
There,
yes, it
the
is.
goal
Yes,
is for AI to replace anybody whose job is strictly done with their mind, and then make it so that anybody who can't do the physical labor that the AI can't do, dead, so that they don't have to support them via welfare or disability checks or social security or Medicaid or whatever the fuck, if they aren't getting, or food stamps even, like if there aren't any people who are still alive that require that kind of assistance, then everyone is either a worker or a capitalist, and that is
exactly.
ultimately what the capitalists want.
Yeah. Yeah. I am telling you, as friends of mine on Facebook have noted and other people have noted, if you think the warehouses that they're trying to format into concentration camps are just for migrants, which, by the way, that's also going to explode with this stuff in Iran, because if you don't think there's going to be influx of Iranian migrants in the wake of this, again, bridge to sell you. But yeah, it's not just going to be for migrants. It's going to be for any political dissidents. It's going to be for anybody deemed undesirable. Like, this is how
I
fascism fucking works.
Before we move on, I apologize for my ignorance. What does the phrase "I've got a bridge to sell you" mean?
Well, just like, it's pretty much like, oh, you seem pretty gullible if you believe this kind of thing and whatever. I don't
Okay,
know exactly where the whole bridge thing came. I usually prefer the term like I've got a glass house that stones can't break, just to really show the ignorance. But yeah,
gotcha.
it's just like, again, if you really believe that, oh my God, I'm so against immigration, then like, weirdly, you should also be like staunchly anti-war, because what do you think creates an influx of fucking migration? That and climate change, by the way, which is only going to get fucking worse.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, you
and
even
so
pointed
yeah,
out that climate change is part of the reason that Iran was in such unrest in the first place from the water thing.
yeah, because certain regions of Iran are currently having a water crisis, and given that the UN announced that we are in a state of freshwater, like global bankruptcy, another goal of the rich would be to privatize water. I mean, Nestle practically already did. I mean, the Nestle CEO once upon a time said, "I don't think water is a human right." These are the people we are up against,
Water is going
I
to come
really,
first, then it's going to be clean air.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
literally
exactly,
the fucking Lorax.
yeah. And now I do just want to react to what Javaris posted, because he did request our thoughts. I would like to see where you read this, Javaris, because I always want us to like cite our sources and stuff, but I believe it. He said that there was a girl that said God will protect me, and he said that ICE agents dressed up as Jesus and pretty much sexually assaulted her.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
think I
I
might
could
have
believe
seen
it.
something about that, as far as like that might have happened in one of the camps.
And bro, like, that's the thing. There was somebody, I don't even know if it might have even been an ICE agent. They dressed up as like an FBI personnel. Oh, it was not. Oh, so it was somebody, and we've seen that too. People dressing up as either ICE agents or FBI, or I guess in this case Jesus, and doing that. And yeah, but there was a girl at a university that got abducted by ICE, and they impersonated a like
Oh, it was in
FBI
the
officer.
files. It was in the files.
Oh, in the files. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what they
Again,
dressed
though,
like.
not surprised. Yeah, yeah. Gee, fuck. So yeah, there was an ICE agent that dressed up as an FBI agent, infiltrated a university, and abducted a young woman. And I believe she later got released. I hope that might have been the release that Mamdani negotiated by flattering
The
Trump.
Columbia
So kudos
University
to
student.
Mamdani there. Beg pardon?
The Columbia University student.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. So they will stop at nothing, right? And that's what we're up against. But to get to the biggest domestic story in my mind, because Jesus, tab dancing Christ. So there has been a little bit of a war of words between Pentagon head fucking Hegseth and Anthropic CEO. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Anthropic is the best AI company in terms of quality. Their
In
product
the
is actually used
US.
in the US. in the US, because I feel like DeepSeek's China might already be lapsing, probably, but there you go. So in the US, yes, the best product on offer. It is integrated extensively into our military. But Hegseth wanted total control of Anthropic's AI to do two things: mass surveillance of Americans, because of course, and he wanted autonomous weapons, like completely autonomous weapons, to kill what they would deem enemy targets. I don't even need to talk about how fucking nightmarish that is. If you already know the inaccuracy of drone strikes, which has been reported on extensively, like, yeah, this would be, I think, even worse somehow, which is just fucking nightmarish to think about. The Anthropic CEO, because this timeline is so fucking insane, actually said no. And they're like, we just feel like that is just a bridge too far for us, and we can't do that. And so Hegseth threw a temper tantrum, Trump threw a temper tantrum, and they're saying, you know what, we're done with Anthropic. We're going to move away from Anthropic. And Hegseth even declared him a national supply chain risk. So they're trying to choke out Anthropic. They're trying to make them a dead company through coercive tactics. So look at the government playing favorites in the supposed free market. Even they don't believe in like the sanitized version of capitalism that we all get indoctrinated with in our youth. Are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, so obviously a vacuum gets left because they said no, or Anthropic said no to them, and now they're like, well, fuck you, Anthropic. So then OpenAI strikes a deal with the Pentagon, and OpenAI, their CEO is Sam Altman. OpenAI has been hemorrhaging money. They are not fucking profitable, and that's why a lot of people in the political optimism subreddit are like, how long is this deal even going to last? Because where's the money, right? Even if the government subsidized you, I feel like they would be subsidizing them at a loss. At least that's what people speculate. So, and the interesting thing at the time was that Altman made a statement saying, and I'm going to quote him here so that I'm not taking him out of context: two of our most important safety principles are prohibitions on domestic mass surveillance and human responsibility for the use of force, including for autonomous weapon systems. The Department of War agrees with these principles, reflects them in law and policy, and we put them into our agreement. Altman said on X, we will also build technical safeguards to ensure our models behave as they should, which the Department of War also wanted. But then later, and I feel like I posted this in the Politics Channel, yes, I did, someone tweeted that they handed in their resignation at OpenAI. Sam Altman reiterated his commitment to, not do mass surveillance and this and that. But then a community note was appended to that saying, government officials have contradicted Sam's claim, saying OpenAI will allow the Department of War to use their models for all lawful purposes. This could allow for uses Anthropic refused to engage in, namely mass surveillance tools and weapon systems with no human oversight. Now, the good news, if I could call it that, and I call it that very tentatively, the Alternate National Park Service Facebook page, which I follow, which you'd think that they would just talk about parks, but they've actually been a pretty decent source for national news, said that there has been a mass boycott of OpenAI. In fact, I'm going to read their post here. Amazing work, everyone. The OpenAI boycott is working, and thank you to our international supporters who are joining us. Sam Altman is in panic mode. He went on X tonight, this was 3 hours ago, telling users to ask him anything about OpenAI's Pentagon deal as the boycott of ChatGPT grows. And then they just give their opinion on the rest. So apparently there has been a boycott of ChatGPT and OpenAI. Yeah. I would love a boycott of all AI until it was just said, like, you know what, we're shutting this down until we can get a better hold on it, because I look at AI along with climate change and far-right fascism, all these existential threats converging on a singular fucking point. So yeah, good on Anthropic, which I thought I would never say about any company ever. And yeah, I really don't know how this deal is going to work for the military. Honestly, like, I'm always scared when AI is involved with national security, of course. I'm not saying don't be worried about it and don't be critical or like conscious of it. But again, OpenAI has been hemorrhaging money. Sam Altman was once quoted as saying, oh, when a company starts rolling out ads, that's like the death knell for a company. And then recently, like a couple months ago, OpenAI was saying, oh, pretty soon we're going to be doing like an ad based, I guess, tier for a service. I think I even read somewhere they're set to lose $16 billion this year. So again, like,
so they need this government contract just to stay keeping their head above water.
Absolutely. And Yeah, the only bad thing, Javaris, when that AI bubble bursts, which I absolutely still think will happen, is that we will subsidize the losses on behalf of the rich. Like they will socialize the
Hmm.
losses on our behalf, and this could just lead to more mass privatization and everything else. Oligarchy always wins until we collectivize and we eat them, which will never happen, at least in my lifetime. And so I don't know what the alternative is. Although some of my friends are saying revolution's already happening, so I don't know. Maybe I need to be more optimistic.
Just to be clear, when you say
But
some of your friends, you mean one of your friends, and then I kind of agreed with them.
yes, well, also I feel like other people did agree with my friend too. So my little
Okay,
friend group that I've got on Facebook, yeah, it's got support. It's
nice.
got support. There's definitely some optimism. I'm just the cranky old man that needs to be put out to pasture. I'm well aware. But with all
Nobody is
that being
saying that, by the way. Just to be clear, nobody is saying that.
I am the one saying that, just to be absolutely clear. And actually, I remembered one other story we need to talk about because you just can never get a fucking break. I can't believe I almost overlooked this one. Netflix has backed out of their deal to buy Warner
Paramount,
Brothers
yeah.
Discovery. Now, this deal may not go through. Again, I recommend going to political optimism because apparently the Ellisons are also hemorrhaging money because of them trying to just be the ultimate media monopoly. And they may not have the cash on hand to actually fulfill the end of this bargain. But right now, I'm just going to treat it like this is happening and we need to talk about the repercussions. Um, Paramount could swoop in and buy Warner Brothers. Now, DBK, to shout out him, he did great coverage of this initially in the Movies and Television channel in our Discord. The big thing that I want to talk about, because this is the politics section, this would now mean that Paramount already controls CBS, which is now their president, Barry Weiss, is an avowed Zionist, and she absolutely fucking sucks. She has drawn flies. Every idea that she has been an utter failure, both just in her life generally and as the president of CBS. She apparently said recently that her new idea for CBS, and I wish I was fucking kidding, was scoops. Really big scoops. Jesus fucking, like,
What does that even
I'm,
mean?
dude, I'm gonna be a jackass. Okay? I'm gonna be a jackass for 5 seconds, and I'm claiming my fucking time. Like when I hear shit like this, it's no surprising to me that our literacy rate is in the fucking toilet because what the fuck does that even mean? Jesus fucking Christ. So they would then also control CNN. Now, I've never liked CNN. I would consider them at best center right. You know, they have some liberal talking points, but you know, they give the right way too much credit. I guarantee you there have probably been CNN commentators that have glazed Trump on Iran because that's just what they fucking do. But under the Ellisons and maybe also Barry Weiss, who fucking knows how much they want to put on her plate, oh my God. I mean, it would pretty much be Zionist media here in America because, you know, you're not allowed to criticize Israel, as we saw by TikTok just dying the moment the U.S. claimed ownership of it. And it would just be, again, far right media, state media. And this is the big thing that I want to end with on the politics section. If you care about what's going on in the world, we need, and this goes for me too, because I'm certainly not perfect. I have made mistakes like anybody else has, and coverage and everything else. We really, 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 really need to develop more critical media consumption and engagement. We need to really separate the wheat from the chaff as far as the sources we use. This is the time of independent media. I mentioned secular talk every week, seemingly in these segments now. Kyle Klinsky, I think, is great because he's left enough for my taste, even though he still believes like, oh, we can have a left Tea Party and we can still vote out of this and this and that, which I again
That
me
just sounds
personally
like the way
disagree
I
with.
think too, honestly. Like,
Yeah, and I just fundamentally disagree with that. But again, that's just me, and I understand that, and I respect that. But he is still so much better than a lot of commentators, even in the online sphere. So much media is going to the right. And even the media that I like Al Jazeera and Reuters, are not without their problems. So I know nobody will be perfect about this because, you know, I'm not, and that's not to say that I'm already perfect. You guys get what I fucking mean. But it's just the idea of just really be careful about the media you're consuming more than ever, and not just with this age of AI, but just in this age of state control and just oligarchic control. It's getting really, I mean, it's been fucking scary out here, but it just keeps getting more scary. I know the next No Kings, I think, is set for March 3rd, so it might even be soon or it might be later.
I
But
didn't
I
even
know
know
I
they were
know there
still
isn't.
doing those, to be honest.
Yeah, there is going to be another No Kings this month. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Oh, and also, actually, another story, because again, just everything flooding the fucking zone, right? I credit Ashton for this because I would have forgotten about this, but he did post this in the Discord. Thankfully, the SAVE Act is dead. So it seems like the midterms for now will go on unencumbered. Even though at the state level they're still trying to do Save Act like a J shit, like in Kansas where they tried to invalidate every trans person's fucking driver's license. Which I want everybody to think about the fact that they were able to mail people that they knew to be trans this notice that, hey, your driver's license is no longer fucking valid, to try and disenfranchise them and further shrink them socially and control them. Now, I saw on the political optimism subreddit that this is already being sued in court and really taken to task. We'll see how it goes. But that's the thing. Even though federally this is dead, states that are sympathetic to Trump and Project 2025 and just this far right conservative infrastructure that they're trying to build, they may try and do their own shit. So be as vigilant as you can. I know it's a big ask, guys. I am so fucking tired. And I know you are too, but we just got to keep pushing through because I really believe if there is a kind of perverse optimism I have, I really do believe this regime is overextending itself. Between all the conflicts abroad and what they're trying to do domestically, it is too much at fucking once. Because to me, they didn't even consolidate the base initially domestically. At least the Nazis, if you want to make historical comparisons, which, you know, the Nazis get invoked all the time in comparison to this regime, they consolidated their base domestically. They did bread and circuses, and they made sure that the fucking concentration camps and everything, that was all like abroad, which Trump at least tried to do at the start with Colombia. And a lot of Germans even were like, oh, the concentration camps aren't real. Yeah, they fucking were. You just didn't fucking know about it. So they built the infrastructure and they built the popular support. They have used up all their political capital. They fucking speed ran it. So they have no support. They're overextending themselves. Top military officials are like, I don't even know if we have the budget because of how much we've given to Israel and the Ukraine Russia conflict to even do shit in Iran, yet they're still trying to do shit in Iran. Like, they're overextending. I really believe it's going to be collapse, and I honestly really hope that this is the death of the U.S. empire because it is a cancer. It is the biggest threat to world peace. It is the biggest exporter of terrorism on the planet. Again, that is just my opinion. I shouldn't state it so resolutely as fact, but I feel like history is very sympathetic to my interpretation of events. And so, yeah, there was other stuff that happened this week, but honestly, I'm fucking exhausted, and I think we hit the most pertinent stuff. I am going to ask you a favor, and I know I never really asked this. Can you open the pop culture segment just so I can get a bottle of
Yes,
water and just hydrate
absolutely,
myself?
absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you.
you
I
got
love
it,
you.
dude.
Thank you
You
so
got it.
much.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yeah. Okay. So because John has tasked me with this, I want to just kind of touch on some things that are just me things that he doesn't. Actually, maybe it would be better if I talked about stuff that he and I both did together, so that would then be stuff that he already knows about. So let's do that actually. Let's talk about the stuff that John and I did together this week. Let me pull up my watch list. I do keep track of this via a watch list. So here we go. What John and I did together this week. We finished the show Central Park. We started that last week and we got through the first season and the first 11 episodes of the second season last week. There were 16 episodes in season 2 and 13 episodes in season 3. So we finished season 2 and then did all of season 3 this week. Genuinely a beautiful, really well made, well voice acted, well composed because it is a musical animated show. Well animated. I mean, it's like Bob's Burgers style animation. It's not going to win any awards for animation, but it's a cute animation style in my opinion. Just a great show. Honestly, if you enjoy musicals, if you enjoy like Bob's Burgers style animation, or even if you don't enjoy it, if you can at least tolerate Bob's Burgers style animation, if you like Lin Manuel Miranda's style of music, like if you've seen Encanto or Moana or Hamilton, and you've enjoyed some of the songs in those movies or that play, uh, please give Central Park a watch. Officially, it is exclusive to Apple TV, but I mean, there are unofficial ways to watch these kinds of things that are a lot easier and a lot freer that you can access. I mean, I've posted a Reddit post that explains how to get Stremio up and running on your computer or your TV twice now in the movies and television channel on our Discord. Use that as a resource. Get into Stremio. It is Not 100% perfectly consistent, but then again, neither are any of these streaming sites either. And it has everything on it. Like maybe there's some old shit that it might not have, but it has pretty much everything on it. And that is how I watched Central Park with John. I think he used one of those other under the one of those other shady sites. I won't be specific. Um, and then because we once we got through those, I was in the mood for some Lin Manuel Miranda type stuff. And because last weekend I did watch Hamilton for probably the seventh or eighth time, but this time it was with my mom and it was her first time and she loved it. I've just been in a Lin Manuel Miranda kind of mood lately, so then I ended up suggesting In the Heights, which we watched together, and that was pretty fun. It was pretty solid. It was not bad by any means. That was a solid movie. Definitely not perfect. There were definitely some changes I would have made to it, but it wasn't horrible by any means. And then just last night, we watched Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which was fantastic, honestly. If I had to rate the movies that we watched this week, I would give In the Heights an 8 out of 10, and I would give Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein a 9 out of 10. I thought it was really good. Oscar Isaac is incredible. John, I hear that you're back.
Yes, yes,
I
I
all
agree with those scores, by the way.
Yeah, all that I told the audience about so far was that we've gotten through Central Park. I explained how great it was and why it was great, and I recommended it, and that we watched In the Heights and Frankenstein and gave scores. That's all that I've said so far.
Yes. Yeah, I was really surprised how good Frankenstein was because I heard mixed reviews. I think a lot of people got worn out from the runtime, but I actually didn't feel the wear of the runtime at all, which is like the third movie I feel like I've said that about because I know I said that about Matt Reeves' Batman, which I thought was really good. And this movie, and I feel like there was another long movie I watched recently with you guys, that I was like, I didn't feel that at all. I thought it was great. So maybe I'm just building up stamina for long movies. But yeah, that was really good. And yeah, In the
Maybe.
Heights. Yeah, you know me. I mean, I've practically turned a corner on musicals. It's not fair to say that I hate musicals anymore. 'Cause Central Park was also really good with the musical numbers. But yeah, and the Heights was good. Some musical numbers were better than others. I think "Top of the World" was probably the best song in the movie, and whatever the song was, where they're like dancing on the building and defying the
That was
laws of
great.
physics.
Yeah, that and
Yeah,
Home, the Home
yeah,
song where they finish on top of the rock.
yeah. That was
Those were
also good.
I enjoyed both of those songs, and yeah, the movie was like I said, it wasn't perfect, but it was fun. It was solid. It was well done. And I've just been in a real Lin Manuel Miranda kind of mood lately, and it's been perfect because he, had a hand in the songs in Central Park, and he was obviously behind Hamilton, which my mom and I watched last weekend, and he was behind In the Heights, which we watched a couple nights ago, and then we kind of broke off from the Lin Manuel Miranda stuff with Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which is great because now we're gonna watch more Guillermo del Toro stuff. I think didn't we agree like literally just last night that we're gonna watch something Guillermo del Toro related very soon, like Pinocchio.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
gonna have time for that tonight probably because we've been going so long on this, but I would love to.
Yo, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, you pretty much covered all the content I feel like we do together. Oh, you and I have also been continuing Yu-Gi-Oh! Subbed. God, Joey is so annoying in the subbed. Fuck. Um, yeah, we're on the KC Grand Prix, and
Which
that's
like
been interesting.
I don't hate it. I'm enjoying it so far. By the way, happy March, everybody. I say everybody. It's really just those of us on the East Coast and everyone further east than that. If it's Central Time or Mountain Time or Pacific Time for you, it's not March for you yet, but for us it is. So happy March to those of us in their right time zones. And my mom's happy because she hates February apparently. But yeah, it was 60 degrees for us today, and I was really happy about that. We went out, we had a really nice day out. We got home and then we walked to the mailbox. And halfway on the way to the mailbox, walking, we realized that we didn't have the key to open the mailbox. And I just said, fuck it, let's just walk to the mailbox, do our actual walk as if we were getting the mail. And then when we get back to the car, we'll just drive to the mailbox just so that we can get the walk in anyway.
Yes.
See, because yeah, it was just beautiful outside. And I need the exercise. I'm trying to get out more and walk more and get more exercise. And that definitely helped. I definitely was feeling it later on in the evening when I was getting up and moving around. And man, the burning and the leg muscles and the hips and the calves and stuff was definitely there, and that's a good thing. Um, but yeah, that's as far as what we've watched. That is it. We've literally, it was just Central Park, In the Heights, Frankenstein, and some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
Yeah, as far as music, I've actually been re-listening to bits of Sleep Token's most recent album. Fucking love those guys.
Nice.
Um, Still waiting for Mosaic to release those singles that they promised.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, they put out
kind
the
of
one that
worried.
was fun.
I'm kind of worried Livingston Crane might have, who's the lead singer of Mosaic, for those that don't know, that he might have long COVID. He did an Instagram reel recently where he's like, I don't know if you've seen those Instagram reels where people are like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I get sick all the time now, and it's like, it's the COVID. And he pretty much did the same thing where he's like, oh, I get head colds like every 3 weeks, I feel like, and it affects my ability to sing. And I'm like, my
Jesus.
dude, I wanted to message him and be like, I didn't because it felt a little too like personal and like not my place, but I wanted to message him and be
Yeah.
like, how many COVID cases have you had? And like, can we talk about this? So like, I'm kind of stressed out about that low key because I love him so much as the lead singer, and I'm like, oh god. But yeah, I mean, they did record 5 other songs. I just can't wait for them to be released. But yeah, it's mainly been Sleep Token for me, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I haven't really gone out of my way to listen to anything too new. What about you? You still listen to XG? Have you gotten a new earworm for the week? What are we
Uh,
doing on the music side?
I actually, honestly, I haven't really had any specific one thing that I've been really into this week. Just today, I was really in the mood to listen to Magnetic, which is a song by another girl group called Illit, like Illit, Illit.
Yeah.
I love that song, and I just used YouTube Music's sort of radio option where you can just take a song and turn it into a whole radio station, basically. And I just played that all day, and it was like zero misses. It was unstoppable. It was fantastic. It played a lot of songs that I knew that I loved and a lot of songs that I'd never heard before that I ended up really enjoying, to the point that I ended up actually discovering a song that I enjoyed so much that I posted it as a second boop of the day today. I don't post more than one boop of the day very often. You know that I have to be really moved in order to post more than one boop of the day. And yeah, that's that new song that I just posted today in the music channel was really good to me. It gave very like Carly Rae Jepsen. Like, it's funny because the name of the song is "Really Like You," and Carly Rae Jepsen has a song that's called "I Really Really Like You" or something like that. And it didn't just remind me of her stuff because of that similarity. It also just vibes wise really felt similar to me. But the artist name is an artist I've never heard of before, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but I would call her Gubin. It's spelled Gyubin. So I'm going to assume that it's Gubin. I could be wrong about that. But the song just really moved me. I really enjoyed it. I was bopping to it. It was fun. And I discovered this song in the car waiting for my mom to get back from gathering food that she had ordered for herself. Um, and this is after earlier on in the day posting my first move of the day, which is Afterglow, which is a song by Wilkinson and Becky Hill, which is EDM. So very different types of boops, because the one that I just posted by this new artist Gubin was very like acoustic guitar pop, like glittery pop, like almost bubblegum pop, cutesy bop. And then the Becky Hill Wilkinson one is just straight up club music EDM, like almost like borderline 90s Eurodance type pop. And that's enough. That's actually, if I had to pick anything, that is the type of trip that I've been on lately. I have been super into like EDM this week, big time, to the point that like on, I want to say Monday, it was either Monday or Wednesday. I again like using YouTube Music's ability to just turn a song into a radio station, basically. I did that with, I don't remember what specific song. I think it might have been like a Real McCoy song or a La Bouche song or something like that. It was one of those like 90s Eurodance tracks that you know I love so much. And I just let
Yeah.
that roll. And that was what led me to the Becky Hill sort of rabbit hole. And I have been listening to her for several days this week, to the point that she is now currently the number one option in my YouTube Music speed dial.
Nice. Nice.
If you've never heard of Becky Hill before, she was a contestant on The Voice UK season one. She didn't win, but then she moved on to basically like guest star as like the guest vocalist on a bunch of different EDM producers' tracks, and she's fantastic. Her voice is so rich, and she's got this beautiful lower register that you really don't hear in female singers nowadays. And she sounds gorgeous, and I love how unique her voice is, and she goes perfectly with these crazy hype EDM songs. You know what I mean when I say EDM, by the way, right? You know what that means?
Well, electronic digital or electronic dance music.
Exactly. Yeah, like if you can think of a song that has a beat that's like stuff like that is EDM
Yeah,
basically. That's the
yeah.
kind of stuff. And yeah, like Becky Hill has voiced has sung over several of those tracks, and they're all pretty much zero misses. Again, fantastic. So that was kind of the kick I was on this week until today when I had like the big K-pop kick, which like I say K-pop, but like there were a lot of well, I guess that's still K-pop actually, so I shouldn't even back backtrack there. But yeah, um, just kind of been my week, EDM and K-pop. I'm just yeah, I think just because like when the world gets really really ugly, I like to listen to brighter, happier music. Is really what it comes down to.
Hey man, whatever gets you through it, you're fucking worth it.
Although I will
So
say, this
yeah,
morning before bed, I did go down a Gorillas rabbit hole, and I fucking love those guys, man. They're awesome.
nice, fucking nice.
You
All
like
right.
Gorillas, right?
Really, just the one famous song, like
Feel Good Inc.
"Happy," right?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
wait, what
Well,
was it?
well, no, not "Happy," right? It's God, I forget the fucking the most famous one. You know the fucking
The
one that got
most
radio
famous
play all the
Gorillaz
fucking time.
song is "Feel Good Inc."
Probably, yeah,
That's
it's
the one
probably
that's like
that one.
"Windmill, windmill for the land of
Oh, that's so.
forever
So wait a minute, wait a minute,
and
wait a minute, 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 because that's not the one I'm referring to. Um, let's see, let's see. Fucking Jesus Christ. Here we go. Oh, Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was the one that I
Oh,
know.
happy. That's what you meant by happy. That's the song that I posted today. That was my bars slash groove of the day
Yeah,
today.
I'm seeing it has 1 billion views on
Oh yeah,
YouTube. I mean,
it's a
yeah,
classic.
yeah.
It's a classic, dude. Back when that song first came out, I loved the vibes of it, but I had no fucking clue what they were talking about.
Yeah, I still don't, but I just that song
Oh,
I've liked. Yeah.
they're basically just talking about partying, pretty much.
Oh,
It's a
nice.
and you know what? That's unfair. That's not doing it justice. They're talking about a combination of depression, drug, not abuse, dependence, drug dependence, and yeah, like partying, pretty much. It's like a combination of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the only Gorilla song I like. I really can't claim, and I'm not gonna like falsely claim that I'm a fan of them. That's really the only song that I know. I've probably heard others without realizing it
You've
was them.
definitely heard "Feel Good Inc." That's actually a more popular song than even Clint Eastwood.
That surprises me. And you're right, I probably have, but I wouldn't make the connection. So yeah, I'm not really a fan, but I know how popular and how influential they've been. So, good for them.
Yeah.
And good for you
They
for listening
also
to
have
them.
a relatively popular song that's just called "Dare," but I don't know if you would have heard that one before.
Sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know if it already happened, but they were actually supposed to be like the musical guest for SNL, which was like fucking
Nice.
huge. Like if you're a Gorillaz fan, because it's like, how often do they do stuff like that, you know?
I mean,
So
dude, here's
yeah,
the thing. They've been around for like 25 years. And
yeah, that's
here's
like
the crazier thing. It's like they were super ahead of their time. Well, maybe in a way. Cause so you know how like Daft Punk is like just two DJs and they like in their music videos they at one point made like this whole like anime movie that connected a bunch of their music videos together.
yes, yes,
So I think that the guy behind the Gorillas kind of took that idea and ran with it because rather than just having one album dedicated to the idea of like this sort of virtual band, which is what that Daft Punk album was, Gorillas is just a fucking virtual band. Like the Gorillas, like as a band, the band members are the cartoon characters in the videos.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the lead, don't get me wrong, like obviously it's not like fucking AI voice or anything. Like there is a real singer behind it, and actually, you probably know who the lead singer of the Gorillaz is without even realizing it because the dude that is the main vocals for the Gorillaz, the guy that does the voice of the main singer for the Gorillaz, is the same dude that was the lead singer for the band Blur.
Huh. I'm
And
not
that's the
familiar with
band
Blur,
that
I don't
does the
think.
Woohoo song.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that song.
The Woohoo! Yeah,
Oh, wow,
that's
okay,
him
yeah.
singing the Gorillaz songs. That's the same guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's him.
crazy.
Yeah, and they've also had like a bunch of like guest rappers on their tracks, like Clint Eastwood, the rapper that does the "Finally Someone Let Me Out of My Cave," like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's Del the Funky Homo Sapien. He's fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then like in Feel Good Inc., there's a rapper on that too, and that if you look into it, that's De La Soul. If you've ever heard of him.
I don't think so.
But
Don't
yeah,
think
like they
so.
bring in guests to star on their tracks all the time, and they just have like this core of like four people. It's three dudes and a woman as like the core members of the actual band. But as far as like sort of kayfabe or canon goes, the band is the virtual cartoon characters.
Nice.
It's really
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, it's really
that's
neat.
really fucking cool. I think that's essentially it. As far as pop culture, right? Because I don't really think I have anything to add. Although I do want to tell you that as far as handheld adventures, because it's
Ah,
been a little bit since I touched it. I actually played Castlevania extensively, and that was a
which
lot of
one?
fucking fun. I don't know off the top of my head. I feel like there was only one Castlevania game on there though. Did you have
Which
more on
system
there?
did you play it on? Was it NES,
Oh,
Game Boy?
you know what? That's a good question. PS2. PS2.
Oh, okay. Um,
So yeah,
Castlevania PS2. I wonder which one that was then. I don't know which Castlevanias were on PS2. Is it just called Castlevania then?
it might just be Castlevania, but I thought there was like a subtitle to it, like a second part to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, let me see if I can find it. Curse of Darkness?
I think that was it.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
knew Darkness was in the title. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I gotta say, for somebody who traditionally I don't play these kinds of games, I kind of got hooked on it. It was a lot of fun. I
Dude,
did
the
die
reason that
eventually,
I put the
but yeah.
Castlevania games on there is because I figured that that would be the type of game that you'd be able to enjoy because it's like very like action oriented. It's
Yes.
very
hmm
hands on. You control the character. You control the way that your character attacks people. There's none of that like turn by turn. You click a button and your character does the action bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I know you hate
Because the
that. I
only
know that you want to
yeah,
control what your character does.
because the only games where that like turn by turn stuff has worked for me and has genuinely stuck me is the Pokemon games. Like
Right.
that's it. Like everything else, I just find it
Well, and
so
even then,
fucking
I
tedious.
bet you would enjoy like the Legend ZA battle system more because it's more hands-on. It's more like you call the move and your Pokemon does it, but then you can like move your Pokemon around. You can tell them how hard to hit, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then my trainer AI could come in and kick the opposing Pokemon in the face. Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So,
So is that all that you did with your handheld this week?
yeah, just Castlevania. I think I did a little bit of Spano versus Raw 2006, but yeah, I mean Castlevania was actually the big one for me.
Yeah.
And my family have just been watching a shit ton of Love Is Blind, which is kind of problematic because that show has a shit ton of fucking lawsuits. And also, we started watching the Amazon Prime show 56 Days, which we all kind of vibed with. It's really good. So, if you guys want to see like a crime thriller with like a toxic kind of romance, sort of, but it's really just a long con. Yeah, hard recommend. I can't wait to get back into it next Family Day, which presumably will be on Tuesday, but I have to see how my brother-in-law's schedule works out.
I
So,
on my handheld, my AYN Thor that you know I love so much, I
yes,
actually installed a new app called Game Native. That's Game Native, GAME Native. And this is an app that literally anyone can get on their phones. Granted, it's going to vary depending on how powerful your phone is. You would be better suited with a more powerful, like Javaris. Oh, no, you know what? I think you might have an iPhone. But somebody with like a more recent Android phone, like a Samsung Galaxy or like a OnePlus, like a recent phone that within the last even like 5 years, honestly, you you're gonna be blown away by this. So this game native app, you have to go on Google and find it. You can't get it off the App Store. You have to make sure that your phone allows for installations of apps from external parties and stuff like that, whatever. But once you do it, you install it, you open it, and once you open it, it will ask you to log into your Steam account. And once you log into your Steam account, you have access to your entire fucking Steam library on your Android device. And now,
That's
granted,
yeah.
there I would say something like 60 to 70% of my Steam games were listed as compatible, which is more than I can say about my MacBook. My MacBook, maybe 10% of my Steam books are compatible with my MacBook, which tells me that when Game Native or Game Hub or whatever, which one of these ones comes to Apple at some point, it's going to be a heyday for us Mac users because the compatibility level is going to go through the fucking roof. Because, yeah, this Game Native app, I was looking through and I was installing so many games that I want to play on this thing. Rocket League is compatible with it. Hollow Knight is compatible with it. I don't think Brawlhalla was, but that other fighting game that was like a 2D fighting game was compatible with it. I forget. Oh God, what is the name of it? I want to try and find it real quick here. I know what it was. I just don't remember the name of it. Oh, it's a 2D fight. You know what? I can filter it. I can filter down to find it. Fighting, 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 fighting. Are you fucking kidding me? Um, multiplayer. No? Action, maybe? What is this fucking? This is gonna drive me crazy. Okay, you know
Just
what?
wanting to work through it. Yep.
It's not worth the time. But there's an insane amount of games that are compatible with this Game Native app, and it's amazing. And so I downloaded it. I logged into my Steam account and I installed a fuck ton of games, probably at least like a dozen and a half or 2 dozen even. And I started playing one right away. And the one that I started playing was called After Image, and it is like
Oh,
a
nice.
Metroidvania type game. I didn't get very far in it because I was just so excited to install more games to see what else I could play that I was like, I'll come back to this at some point. Um, but the library is nuts. Like I was going through and I was like, oh, want that? Oh, want that? There was one even that blew my mind. All of the Monster Hunter games were compatible. That blew my mind. Uh, Sea of Stars was compatible. That blew my mind. Um, I know that Ark Survival Evolved was listed as compatible, which is insane to me because that game barely even plays well on PC. How am I going to play it on an Android device? Like, yeah, it was. Hades was compatible. Yeah, like GTA 5 was compatible.
Yeah.
If I ever get the hour or two that it would take to actually download one of these bigger games like Grand Theft Auto or Ark or whatever, I am definitely going to try and see if I can actually run those on my Thor because my Thor is an Android device. It runs an Android chip that's just a few years old. It's called a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. It's the same chip I believe that was in like the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I think this is the one that has the same chip as my phone. I want to check. Um, yeah, it is. So this was like the cock of the walk top level Samsung Galaxy phone from February of 2023. So 3 years ago, it was the top of the line Android phone, and now I have it in a gaming device with like full D-pad, joysticks, ABXY triggers, everything, and I have access to like 60-70% of my Steam library on there. Plus, I can play PS2 games and GameCube games like you can on your device that I got you, John. Like, I am stoked on this thing. Honestly, dude, on your device, you might even want to download your get Game Native on that device because that device should probably even have a little bit of compatibility too. Although I know you don't have as much storage space as me.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that because yeah, you were really selling it hard there, brother.
I'm just
That's
really
amazing. You could do
excited
all
about
that.
it because I also saw not Game Native but Game Hub, which came before Game Native. That's just a little bit more like involved to get installed in your device is apparently going to be coming to Mac soon. And Game Hub on Mac is just like mind blowing, because the whole thing about Macs is you don't get a Mac to be a gamer. You're not gaming on a Mac. But if Game Hub
Right.
or if Game Native come to Mac, that's going to open up a whole world of possibilities. Because like the thing with Android is Android has a lot of really good possibilities for emulation. You can emulate PS2, you can emulate GameCube and Wii and Switch even on Android without much of a fuss at all. If your device is powerful enough, like I've literally played Pokemon Legends Arceus on my Thor within the last few months. It's not that much of a challenge. It works. Um, but PC gaming is a whole different animal. So the idea that you can play PC games on devices that aren't necessarily a PC. So basically, the fact that you can get the benefits of playing games that should be on your PC without having to deal with the bullshit that is Windows, specifically Windows 11, is the biggest boon you can imagine for a PC gamer, for a gamer in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, all right, I am all pop cultured out and ready to move on if you are, pal.
Yes, please. It's 1:15, so let's see if we can get this done before 1:30. Let's move on to Q&A. Questions from Super Blue. First question for both of us. How do you feel about Sol possibly winning the NXT Women's title at Stand and Deliver and staying in NXT for the rest of the year? I've already said that I would prefer Sol to be called up, but if she won the Women's World title and they actually gave her a reign, I mean that would get me to lessen my eagerness and stuff and just kind of play ball. So I'd be cool with that. I don't
Yeah.
think I'd be too opposed to that. You
Uh,
agree?
I would hate it. If Soul was going to win the women's championship ever, it should have been fucking this week. And then Zarya should have attacked her afterwards and challenged her for the fucking title. Why the fuck would Zarya attack her, prevent her from winning the title, and then be like, I hate you so much that I didn't want you to win, when Zarya could have selfishly let her win and then attacked her afterwards and been in the title hunt immediately?
Heels never think things through, bro. We know this, but
Heels
you're
are
right.
supposed to be the smart ones.
I I I I know, but you know that that's not the case. Um.
I need.
So
I'm rubbing my temples counterclockwise, by the way.
is it reality doing to you? Because I'm just being honest the way I see it. I feel like reality did this to you, not me.
Oh yeah,
So
100. It's NXT's writing team that's doing it to me for sure.
yeah. So, question two for both. What do you think about Discord delaying its ID verification until October due to the backlash? Here's the thing. I feel exactly about this the way I did about the constant fights for net neutrality. They'll defer and defer and defer, but it's really only moving the ball down the field. They're going to try and do what they want eventually.
Yep.
They may say October, that's how it starts, and then, oh, they may even move it back, further, or they may try and modify it. Like, oh, it's only going to be this. They've already tried to do that, where it's like, oh, it's not even going to affect 90% of users. They mollify the language, that they lower the temperature so it seems more like acceptable. Again, manufacturing that consent, albeit in a very different context. But they're just going to do what they want anyway. So I don't put much stock in it. It's corporations and big tech companies doing what big tech companies and corporations do. Not really much more to say than that. Anything to add?
Question number 3: Why did Netflix back out of the deal and allow Paramount to buy Warner Brothers? From what I understand, Paramount just straight up offered a way better deal. Paramount is offering like 111 million, I think, and Netflix was willing to offer 80, or not million, billion, and Netflix was offering 85 billion, I believe. Is it billions or millions? I genuinely don't even remember.
I don't remember either, but the point is that Paramount gave a higher offer, which they
Paramount
may not
bigger
even be
number.
able to. Yeah, they may not even be able to follow through on, as I said, from
Yeah.
posts and the political optimism subreddit. So Netflix may still be the bigger winner here because if Paramount cannibalizes itself or kind of implodes on itself, they can swoop back in and be like, "Yeah, see, our deal didn't look so bad now, did it?" Now, I want to be clear. I'm against monopolies, period. So I don't necessarily like Netflix acquiring them either because
Yeah.
we just shouldn't have
Maybe if
monopolies as a healthy
HBO didn't
society.
spend the last 2 or 3 years literally cannibalizing itself and actually just focused on making better products, we wouldn't have gotten here in the first place.
Exactly, but it's just another day in America.
Hey,
Um,
why don't we kill this other movie for a fucking tax write-off? Fuck you.
Yeah, we already answered question four, but just to say what it was out loud for everybody, should Becky face Jessica Carr at WrestleMania 42 instead of a rematch with AJ Lee? Super Bowl, I know you were in the audience when we had this whole discussion about Becky and Jessica Carr, so I'm not even going to touch this any further.
Just to be clear,
Um,
I want to make my stance perfectly clear. Absolutely the fuck not. Jessica Carr, great referee, but she is not a WrestleMania quality wrestler. That's what
yeah,
matters.
No. Question 5 for me, John. Why did you, Dom, and Sean moist the ropes with you hating LA? With you hating to screw LA Knight from saving the day? I did nothing wrong, okay,
Just
and
to be
neither did
clear, by the
Dom
way,
and
I
Sean.
really want to like understand this. At what point in the universe did hate become associated with moistness?
Well, I mean, if anything, I'm flattered because Super Blue thinks that my face is extra capable, which, I mean, to be fair, you've seen it. Like, it's not that much of a stretch, I suppose. But yeah, even if I did have something to do with it, I regret nothing. And Ashton's already kind of stood by me that I've done literally nothing wrong. As
Like,
I said in the Discord, I'm a 5'2" wholesome bean.
yeah,
You know, that's
but
literally all
also,
I'm guilty of.
what? How does a person arrive at this conclusion? Even how does hating somebody cause the area around them to become moist? How is that even real?
I feel like trying to comprehend it, your brain wants to leave your ears, but you're like closing them up with your hand and you're like, no, we're gonna figure this out. You don't have to leave me.
See, and my thing is, I know it's nonsense. I just want to know how Super Blue came to this conclusion.
Well, rather than waiting on him to answer, we've only got one more question from him. He said, for both 30 years later, how do you feel about Pokemon and the release of Winds and Waves next year? This would have been better for a question for just Ashton, because I really
See,
don't
but
care
I
about the
like
Pokemon
hearing you
franchise.
talk about Pokemon too, though.
That's so weird because I barely have like any opinions. Like it's like cool, I guess. I'm happy for the fan base, don't get me wrong. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, but like I really have not cared in so long. Like I really like I'm happy for Abel's sake because I know he's part of the Pokemon community. I know you fucking love the game, so I adore you both. So obviously I'm thrilled for you guys. But I'm still stuck on the classic 150 like fucking Game Boy games, you know? Like I never really moved beyond that. And I did play Pokemon Snap to be fair, but again, that's still
Did you
such an
see
old generation game.
Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which are the Game Boy Advance remakes of Red and Blue, are available to play now on the Switch?
No, I did not know that.
20
Yeah, see,
bucks.
like I'm just yeah. Yeah, I'm just so unplugged. I mean, again, I think it's cool that the franchise had this kind of staying power because I'll be honest, I didn't think it would last this long. Like you could definitely tell that it was like the cultural zeitgeist for the time, and in fact, South Park even did a spoof episode on it. I don't know how many people even remember that, but
Shit,
like,
Pokemon.
yeah, exactly. But 30 years, I mean, that's staying power that
Dude,
even I didn't
I'm gonna
anticipate.
be real. I
So,
think when Gold and Silver came out, that was like what sealed it for me. Of like, I'm never gonna live to see a world without Pokemon in it.
yeah, you know what? That's fair. That is fair. So good for them, I guess. I mean, they know what they fucking have. Um, and so yeah, good for the fan base, good for the product, and catch them all, I guess. I don't know. But you again, you're actually a fan. You know the product. So how do you feel about what was the name of this fucking game being released? Winds and
It's
Waves next year.
well, the way that like the original games were Red and Blue, the new games are going to be called Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. It's the same shtick of them releasing two different games, or two different titles of the same game to make people choose between them.
Yes.
Is Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, uh, Ruby, Sapphire, Diamond, Pearl. You know what I mean? Like it's the two title shtick, the two title gimmick. Um, but no, I will say the games look gorgeous. I have now officially at least seen footage of every Pokemon generation. And in my opinion, the best looking Pokemon games of all time are Sword and Shield, with
Yeah.
Pokemon Legends Arceus specifically probably being a solid runner up. And then probably Legends ZA being the next runner up after that. But Scarlet and Violet were a huge step down graphically. And even if you play Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2, I still don't think that it looks better than the three games that I just mentioned, or four if you count Sword and Shield as separate games. Um, but this game looks like finally we're getting an upgrade over Sword and Shield from a fidelity standpoint, a graphical fidelity standpoint. Um, Looks gorgeous. The textures look great. The fidelity looks high. The water looks gorgeous, which is obviously going to be a huge feature because apparently you're going to be able to go underwater in this game, which, to be clear, this will be the first game since I guess technically Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, since those were remakes of Ruby Sapphire, that you'll be able to go underwater. Because in those games you did have the ability to use the move dive, which you could go underwater with. But that was still like very rudimentary. You were just going underwater, and it was still very like tile based, and it was still very like up, down, left, right. And this looks a lot more like the type of swimming that you would do in like an adventure game. Like think
Yeah,
like Banjo Kazooie, but with 2026 or 2027 graphics.
yeah,
Or really realistically more like 2015 graphics because Pokemon's still catching up. Um, but yeah, the underwater looks gorgeous. I'm wondering because they showed it being like an underwater scene, if the ability to dive is in the game and the names of the games are winds and waves. I'm wondering if there's also going to be the ability to fly through the air on Pokemon in the game. That would be really cool. I would love that too. Being able to fly on Braviary in Pokemon Legends Arceus felt cool, but kind of undercooked because you weren't really flying. You were more just kind of, I guess, gliding because you couldn't really gain altitude. From what I understand, though, in Scarlet and Violet, if you get through the DLC, you do gain the ability to fly proper on your Mount Legend, the Pokemon that you are riding around the region. So I haven't personally experienced that, but that looks really cool. That looks really fun, and that looks like maybe sort of alpha or a beta test of what they're planning on doing in winds and waves. Being able to fly around seems really cool. Um, they did show some of the Pokemon. I love that there are like very specifically designed regions. Like I saw there was like a volcanic region, there was like an icy region. Of course, you get to go underwater. There was like a tropical region. That design reminded me actually of Pokemon Snap. The way that Pokemon Snap has the very specific designed maps of like, here's a volcano, here's a cave, here's a power, like that kind of stuff. That kind of reminded me of that, and it got me excited because I fucking love the original Pokemon Snap, and I would love to play the new one. But it's never gone on sale for a price that I'd be willing to pay. So that's just gonna have to wait. But yeah, the games look really cool. I'm a little bit disappointed that they're not coming out until 2027, but hopefully that means that they are going to be completely complete and not half baked. I also do think that the starters are adorable, but I'm a little bit worried that maybe they used AI to design them because they do look a little AI, and I say that because mostly they look a little Pow Worldy to me. They look a little bit like they would fit in Pow World with all the little creatures in that game. And we know that, well, we're pretty confident at least that Pow World is using AI to generate their creatures. Their pals is what they call
yeah, yeah.
them. So that is my only concern. As far as the starters, I love all three of them, but I think Brout, the grass starter, is my favorite design. Pombon is also adorable. Gekwa absolutely slays. Looking forward to seeing what their evolutions look like, although I'm guessing we won't actually see their evolutions until like the day that the games come out because that's been the trend lately. Um, so that's going to be where I stop here, and I don't think we have any other questions, so we can just end here.
Yes, high spots, low shots.
Oh, right.
Just gonna make low shot very straightforward. Obviously, Iran, huge fucking thing happening here. So I'm gonna go the political route with my low shot. I mean, it's war practically. So once again, meddling in the Middle East. I can only hope that they find the other side of this. Whatever that may look like. And yeah, the next coming weeks, folks, are gonna be absolutely insane. So stay as informed as you can, but also be mindful of your mental health and your surroundings. There's so much going on at once. This is the time where self care becomes, paramount. And yeah, just very straightforward low shot there. Who's your low shot?
I'm gonna have some fun with this one. I'm gonna make my low shot LA Knight because he talked so much shit, and Super Blue talked so much shit on his behalf, and then he slipped, and then he got eliminated like a bitch by Logan Paul too.
The way you said bitch. I really need to meet the universe version of you that's a fucking asshole, because the friendship he and I could have. Holy shit. Oh, man. Not nearly as precious as the friendship I have with this universe, Ashton, though. So high spot for me. Well, first of all, just because it's our fucking show and I can do whatever I want, I'm gonna give honorary high spot to myself, Sean, and Dom. Because apparently we have the power from a fucking distance to affect wrestling matches because we made ropes moist, apparently. So, hey, Sean, Dom, fucking love you guys. Let's band together again to solve a crisis that actually fucking matters because apparently when we're together, we have the power of a fucking god. But my actual high spot, I think I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley
Nice.
because I really didn't expect her to win Women's Chamber, and she did. And her versus Jade is a far better matchup than Tiffany versus Jade again. So good for Rhea, I guess, being back in the title hunt. Who's your high spot?
Um, you know, I think I'm gonna go a little bit more the political route here, actually.
Okay.
I forget the name. You're gonna have to help me here. The name of the AI company that didn't take the government's
Oh,
contract.
Anthropic.
Yeah,
Anthropic.
Anthropic is my fucking high spot because they had goddamn integrity in a world where integrity is a fucking commodity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just hope they don't pay too steep a price for it. But I love that pick. And with that said, guys, this has been TWitWoW. This has been the weekly recap. We are the best podcast on the web today. Be sure to like the video as you file out, subscribe with the bell notifications so you miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best podcast on the internet today. And we will see you guys presumably Wednesday for Marty Gold. And we're definitely already set for Thursday for Stardom
Mm-hmm.
at 7 with another 5 match card. And if you're not into Joshi, I think you're missing out, but I also understand it. Pro wrestling is a lot these days. You can just catch us again Saturday at 10:30 for more weekly recap. Until then, guys, and I say this more than ever, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Tune in. Peace out.